Hi guys, Maikeru here. This podcast is something I've wanted to do forever. I've mentioned it in so many previous podcasts that I've always wanted to do one with Muncles. We tried to reach out to him a long time ago, but we couldn't find any way to contact him. But now he's back, he's doing YouTube videos again, and it was time for me and Protoxx to chat to him. Protoxx will be uploading the same video on his channel. We're both going to upload it on our channels to get as much exposure as possible. And to just let everyone know that Muncles is back. If you have no idea who Munclesonkey is, he was probably the biggest RS3 YouTuber in around, 2014, 2015, 2016 times. And he was one of my biggest inspirations to start up content creation. The man is a legend. If you aren't subscribed to him or you have no idea who he is, I will leave a link to his channel in the description alongside Protoxx's. And with that being said, let's get into this chat with this absolute legend.
Hello everyone and welcome to a podcast with Mr. Maikeru and myself and the man, the myth, the legend behind the munclemath, Munclesonkey.
Hello.
And that's probably a voice a lot of people haven't heard in a long time unless they got their videos, the videos in the recommended, which they most likely have actually, judging by the amount of support you've gotten since you've come back.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Unexpected, but awesome.
So Muncles, I do have a question I'd like to ask pretty much from the get-go. So, 10 minutes, you pick up €3. How much money do you make per hour?
Well, if you extrapolate that over an entire hour, I think that's gonna give you about €18 an hour.
That's some beautiful munclemath right there, dude.
Jesus
Thank you.
Christ.
I think have you seen some of? I was really bad. I know. I just had to. I've seen some extreme versions of like people picking up $100 bill, or whatever, on the ground in like 2 minutes and saying it's like, I don't know, a few thousand grand, a few grand per hour or something. But
Like, how did that all even start? Like, do you remember, Muncles? Like, what actually caused it? Was it the thing about the invention offhand or something? That's what I remember.
So I think as far as I can understand it, because munclemath kind of became a thing after I stopped making videos. I think pretty recently after, but I was out of the community and no longer paying attention to what was going on when it started becoming a common saying. And I've kind of gone back and looked a little bit into it, and I believe it's because so I haven't made a whole lot of money making videos where I claimed rates. But the two main categories where I did, I think, was for kind of some lower level bosses like Armadillo, Zami, stuff like that, and then for the Slayer guides. And the ones where I tested my own rates were for the Slayer guides, where I'd pretty much just do a task or two and then just say, this is how much I got in this much time. Extrapolate that out to an hour. So that's my best guess for where it started. But it also was 5 years ago. It totally could have been a different video, and I'm just not aware of it.
It's crazy because, like, I just couldn't remember anything ever being done with like wrong maths or completely exaggerated stuff from back in the day. So when everyone started saying it, it's like it's just what's being said now. It's just that thing that people have latched onto. I guess it's strange.
Isn't it? I'm fairly certain it might have been like either your Armadillo or Bandos guy, because I remember. Actually, I should probably look it up, but the GP per hour rate was fairly high because you got a bunch of drops in a few hours. I don't know if you remember yourself, maybe which video that might have been. Like one of the bosses at Godor's Dungeon 1, you got fairly lucky there. I don't remember which though. I'm not saying it's the
Oh,
origin
that
of
was
munclemath.
definitely Bandos. I think I even made a video on Bandos because I just got an insane amount of drops in 2 hours. And I can remember that one specifically because that was a pretty awesome day. But I don't remember what I claimed the money per hour to be in the Bandos guide I uploaded at all.
Apparently, it says 2 to 3 mil per hour, which that's just in the title though, so I have no idea.
And I don't think that was based off of me testing the rate. I think that was just roughly what the money per hour at Bandos with, mid to high tier gear was understood to be at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So munclemath.
it's an interesting
But
one.
But I'm happy to be a part of a meme now,
Mhm.
regardless of how it started.
Yeah, you need to embrace it one day and just do a video that is just completely dumb.
That'd be a great like April Fool's video idea.
Definitely.
might end up being your most popular video, actually.
Just show like a montage of getting drops from all these different bosses, and then be like, if you do the same thing as me, it's 20 mil per hour.
I did that and it
Easy.
got quite a few dislikes, but hey, it's fine. It was April Fool's.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I
What?
done an April Fool's video like 2 years ago with that type of thing, and I put the the Dreamscape
Oh.
tune, and I opened up Notepad and stuff, and I didn't say anything.
I think I remember that now, vaguely. I remember you also doing like karaoke and killing cows and all that stuff, you know?
Yeah, some weird stuff.
You had a weird clan, dude. Like
It is what it is.
events.
Yeah.
In a good way. In a good way. So, Munkle, there are a lot of people that know you, obviously, but for the people that don't know you, could you give some background information as to who you are now, kind of thing?
Sure. So I started. I've played RuneScape since late 2006, early 2007, in that range. I don't remember the exact date. I started uploading videos in 2011. I mostly, for the first part, just focused on progress. I would, make vlogs. This is what pretty much everyone who did RuneScape videos was doing at the time. Just kind of like recording what they did throughout the day and then talking about it. Eventually, that turned into kind of like Road to Maxcape series. And then eventually, I started making guides, and the guides is really what started to take things off. My channel wasn't getting a whole lot of views before that. Um, and making guides, especially like skilling guides or boss killing guides, was really what started to uh, help YouTube work out. So I
Mhm.
kind of continued doing that for a couple of years until about the 2015 range. I quit YouTube for a period of, I believe, about 4 to 6 months, just because I had changed living situations in real life, and I was a lot busier, and I had been going to school, but I also started working a part-time job along with that, and I didn't really have a whole lot of time. I eventually came back for a few videos, and this was around the time that God Wars 2 released.
Mhm.
Um, and I made guides on a couple of those bosses, and I just a couple update videos and stuff. And then I ended up quitting almost for good for about a period of 4.5, 5 years after that. And that brings us to today. And the main reason I quit was just because of time constraints. It was really, really hard to get any time at all to play RS. Working as much as I was, and doing class and trying to balance a social life as well.
Mhm.
And it became really overwhelming, and I think I just got really burnt out. And initially, when I stopped, I had intentions of coming back, within a couple months, doing the same thing over again.
Mhm.
But I moved in with a bunch of my friends in a big communal house, and I really had no time or space to play RuneScape or make videos on it for the 2 years that I lived there. And it
Wow.
just kind of, I always had this plan to come back eventually and make videos, and it just kept getting pushed back and pushed back. And yeah, months turned into 4.5 years.
This
Wow.
is always the way, life getting in the way and all of that, right? Can I ask how old you are? Is that side that you were able to reveal?
Sure. I'm 25.
Mhm.
I'm still in school, and the main reason why is I didn't start university until I was 20. I got a late start. I worked for a couple of years after I graduated. And I also changed my major, so that added an extra 2 years onto my undergraduate.
And studying just takes so long nowadays anyway, so it's understandable.
Yeah, yeah, it's a full 4 years, and I pushed that into 5.5 by changing my major. So
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Busy onky coming in, dude. So Wait, so you said you worked in between. That means if that's around the same period you did a lot of videos, you didn't really ever go full time in terms of RuneScape content because you did upload very consistently before like 2013, 2014 kind of thing.
Yeah, I was full time for that year. I didn't. I was well. I was in class, so not full time.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah, I didn't have a job for about a year, and I was financially supporting myself just off of YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Pretty much like you, Protoxx, then.
yeah, basically, yeah. And I think sick of it at the time as well. Like he used the money to pay for college, if I'm correct. I'm sure Muncle knows sick of it. Fairly certain.
Yeah. Oh, I've used his
Hey,
best
what's up,
guides.
guys? It's Patrick.
Oh man.
What a legend. I love him.
Damn man, his voice is so iconic, just like Muncle's actually. Because but when you did return, right? I'm not. It must have been. You did say it was Steam, right? But was it just Steam?
Well, so I had been playing old school for a while, prior to the Steam release coming out. So for the past, I don't know, 2 to 3 years, I have been playing old school, not consistently at all, but like paying for bond membership for a couple of months and then quitting for a couple of months, then coming back for a couple of months, really just depending on the cycle of class and work and how busy I am. Um, and so I guess due to that, I was a little more in tune with the RuneScape community at large than I would have been otherwise. Um, so the idea of returning to RS3 was more present than it would have been if I, was completely removed from any sort of RuneScape community at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess linking into that with being on and off on RuneScape and stuff, have you been keeping track of like how RuneScape and like the YouTube scene and all of that has been going?
Question.
Well, in terms of the game, I know that both old school and RS3 have kind of experienced a spike in popularity during the past year. I don't know how much of that is related to the pandemic. I don't know how much of that is related to things like archaeology, um, and also major updates in old school. But I know it kind of feels like games that are experiencing a bit of a second resurgence.
Yeah, I can see that. The player base on RS3 recently in the last week has been averaging spikes like at peak times of over 50K, which is insane because normally it's like 35. So like with Steam release, with the advertising they done with Steam release, and with like kind of a second wave of the lockdowns and stuff in certain countries.
It's coming.
Yeah,
It's still coming, I
yeah,
think.
it's
Like
kind of crazy though, isn't it? To think the amount of people that are playing now.
it I don't know if that saying is like translatable in English, but one person's downfall is another person's bread or something.
Yeah, like I can understand what you're saying.
I don't know what the English saying is, but for content creators, obviously Archaeology, the pandemic, now Steam, and some other updates like the DLC to Archaeology or expansion Orthan are very, very good.
100%, yeah. We had like that lull of like 5 months with no content after archaeology, but COVID definitely impacted that and everything. And I feel
Hmm.
like they're getting back in the swing of things, and we've had loads of decent little updates alongside the big updates like Orphan. But then we've also had like Essence of Finality. We've
Yep,
had the lunar spells. We had like so
ninjas.
many different things, like the clue updates with the ninjas and stuff. Yeah, the titles and everything coming out. There's so much that is like continuously happening that is keeping people engaged now. We just need like at least one or two small updates a month, and I think everyone will be happy if we only get two big updates a year, as long as we get those small ones to tie us over.
I'm
So
curious what. Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah,
sorry, I
go
have a
ahead.
question related to updates.
Hmm.
Do you guys think that updates that cause kind of like a significant change to gameplay in the way that I believe archaeology somewhat has, have a bigger impact on like the amount of active players than, just like expanding a skill that already exists or, introducing a boss with very similar mechanics to things we've seen in the past?
Ooh, I I think it does. because it it encourages people to come back and experience that change, which it definitely did with Archaeology. And if you look at the mining and smithing rework, I don't know what kind of impact that had. It was
nowhere near as much.
nothing close. Like probably like 1/5 or 1/6 of what Archaeology has done.
And apparently the mining and smithing rework took longer than Archaeology, which is
What?
insane.
Because spaghetti code.
And no, they had to scrap it loads of times as well because it wasn't quite right and all of that. Like it took them years because they were talking about it
Wow.
for so long and they just kept delaying it, right? And then like they said that the rework to the existing skill was harder than making a new skill because you didn't just have to think about what these things are doing when they come into the game. You also had to think about like how the changing each thing impacts heavily and so many different areas that already exist in, you know?
Especially with smithing. I'm sure I'm actually curious what Muncle thinks about stone spirits, to be honest, before I go on. What
I'm not. Yeah, I see how it would be so difficult to implement a smithing rework specifically because they had to rework like the drop table of half the monsters in the game
Mhm.
and add useless things like stone spirits in along with them.
Yeah, rips, rune skimmies, and all that other stuff and Slayer tasks, dude. Normal alking, just enjoy your stone spirits, dude, and your salvage.
You
I mean, you can
probably
still
triggered like
salvage.
10 people calling it a skimmy, by the way.
Wait, hold up. How are you supposed to say? Is it? It's scimitar, right?
Yes, a simmy is what
But
people
no,
technically should call it, but everyone
Oh,
gets
I've heard it
angry
both
whenever.
ways.
Yeah. But I 100% guarantee Protoxx has triggered some people
it's
somewhere.
skimmy. If anyone disagrees, I'll be at that table, that meme thing or whatever. Change my mind. It's skimmy.
Mhm. I said that as a kid. I said skimmy, to be honest.
You could
But
afford a skimmy, dude.
I had, I had a couple of cool things. I got my first ever rune item as a noted item back in like 2005, and it was like a rune full helm. I was really happy, and I thought I got scammed because it was a note, and then I dropped it on the floor. Yeah, I just spent ages at Hill Giants, man, getting this like 20k rune full helm, and then man
Ugh,
dropped it on the floor thinking he got scammed, and then a couple of days later I figured out you could unnote it. It doesn't matter. We can move on.
beautiful story, dude.
Mhm.
So, Monko, you've obviously like played. What is it, like 2 weeks now? I think.
Yeah, running up on the end of the first pond.
So, what is it you like the most, and what is it you look forward to? If you're kind of aware what the path of RuneScape is currently.
So archaeology is the main thing that I've been focusing on since coming back. Partly because it's really fun, partly because it's AFK and very easy to do during class. And then getting the max cape back is kind of a nice incentive. However, there's a lot of stuff I really want to check out. Elite Dungeons being one of them. It's just been really hard to find time to do it yet. And also Big Game Hunter and just like exploring not fossil islands
Anachronia.
has been
Yeah.
fun.
Not Fossil Island, great.
Oh, OSRS. So for early dungeons, you say the time, right? But you could potentially like make a series out of PVMing, like doing all the bosses you haven't tried before, and a bunch of them are probably very doable solo. I'm not sure how good you're at PVM, especially since you took a break, but you could always give the elite dungeons a solo shot. But if you're learning, it might not be the best idea.
That's true. I did just recently buy some gear that's kind of decent. So if there's a time to PVM and try some stuff out, it's probably now. The main thing stopping me from doing that has just been homework for the most part, and also being out of town on the weekends.
Plus,
Ah.
you are ill, right?
Yes, I did. I did contract the deadly disease. I'm on the recovery now. I'm feeling pretty much close to 100%, but I was pretty sick for a few days.
I'm sure that took a giant hit in your schedule of like what you wanted to do on game and in real life as well. So catching up
Oh
was
yeah, I
another
barely even logged on. I
Yeah,
mostly just
exactly.
laid on the couch and watched my lectures from a completely prone position.
How bad was it 1 to 10? I'm curious because everyone um, experiences it differently that gets infected.
Um, Honestly, it was probably like a mid-tier flu. It wasn't the worst. I had one night where it was really bad with a high fever, but the fever broke sometime in the early morning, and then once the fever was gone, it was really no big deal. It was just like any head cold.
Okay. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Sure. Um, Michael did actually pop that question, but you have kept up with like YouTube and RuneScape content creation / news, right? Like from like a general viewpoint, correct?
Oh, a little bit. In terms of like when the mining and smithing rework came out, and when like Anachronia came out, like I was aware of those things coming out, but I didn't really know much other than there's a new island, or two of the
Mhm.
skills in game are different now.
Because I was curious, I'm not sure if you watched Mod Lee's patch notes back when I'm fairly certain he did them at that point already. I'm not.
Yeah, he was doing them for a long
Yeah,
time.
he was. I think he had been doing them for like a year or so
Did
in
you
2015 when I stopped playing.
So yeah, 24. Yeah, okay. Did you know that Mod Lee was let go from Jagex?
I didn't. That was news to
Oh,
me.
oh. I mean, Micro knows more about it than me because he did a podcast with Mr. Lee.
Yeah, they just said they didn't need him kind of thing, but then in my opinion the community events and stuff were pretty huge. So
Big rip.
it was a sad thing. It was a big thing at the time, right? Same with Mod Shawnee leaving. There's been so many different things that have happened that obviously aren't the best, but at the same time, you can understand why some of them happened and how it all
Hmm.
happened. I'm not necessarily like super surprised about the Mod Lee thing, but it was the way they did it. Like they phoned him up on Discord and stuff and told him that his contract was not going to be renewed, etc. Like
Hmm.
to be contacted on Discord to be like made redundant that way, it was a very very bad thing. They could have handled it a lot better at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh. I thought I might have like come into like Michael's recommended actually. I don't know.
But so, Muncle, did you watch any like YouTube content? Did you know about me, Protoxx, people like that, or did you just like stop doing all of that? Because you could know about the updates that are coming to RuneScape, but not necessarily watch any content on them, right?
Yeah, so I did know about both of you guys and a couple of other content creators. So during my 4.5 year long break, I did briefly return a couple of times. I do have a real life friend who plays the game, mostly just to hang out and do stuff with him. And also I played a little bit on a new Iron Man I started and did not get very far on. But I did get far enough to watch a couple guides and check out some content like Player on Farm.
Okay.
That's fair
Okay.
enough. And
Huh.
so that actually leads me into like your Iron Man series is probably what inspired me the most to make content on YouTube,
Oh,
which is
really? I didn't
kind
know
of
that.
insane to think. Because your Rise, Son of Iron was such a fun thing to watch, and I watched it while doing my own Iron Man at the time.
Yeah, I probably should have
And
named it after a more relevant video game because that title probably doesn't mean a whole lot anymore.
it was very very good. Well, especially at the time, and I appreciated the title. So if that's anything to go by, but like I think you and Alchem were my biggest inspirations to make content on YouTube and
Yeah.
stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Same here, dude.
But it's pretty insane to just have you back because of like how much of an inspiration you were, and the fact that I can sit down and talk to you and be like the same as you now. Well, not quite the same, but like as in like doing the same thing now is pretty insane.
Well, I really appreciate that. I honestly didn't kind of expect to ever be an inspiration because I was inspired a lot by kind of that the people we had that came before me in the 2009 2010 range. Um, but I think that totally makes sense because it's hard to be the first out there, and I think a lot of us kind of get inspiration through YouTubers that came before,
Hmm.
um, and draw inspiration from them.
Definitely.
It's a cycle, I think, because
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
had
for sure.
I don't know if you've had people message you recently, but I've seen people starting a channel because of my content now, which is like it's like It's a father-son thing, dude. It's kind of weird. At the same time, it's good. Like I was also in...
Padawans.
Yeah, but it's like people see something and they're like, okay, I can do this as well. I feel like doing this. I want to do this, and they just do it, and it's really cool to see. Like, because honestly, I'm curious, Munkle, is there any specific YouTuber that inspired you? Because for both me and Maikeru, probably the biggest inspiration was actually your content.
Oh, for me, it's got to be RuneShark, and I think
Mhm.
I think a lot of people can probably relate to that who started YouTube around the 2011 2012 range. They really were the kind of the face of the RS2 at the time community.
Yeah, they're
Um,
insane.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and their channel, like right before the Evolution of Combat came out, that was like their absolute peak.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like
then
God Sword from scratch and stuff like that. That stuff was
yeah,
so fun.
didn't Naved, Slayerholic, and a few others also start around that time? I could be wrong. Ours Nave like turned into some family-friendly Minecraft YouTuber, but
Yeah, it seemed like there was a big wave of people starting YouTube in like 2011. The couple year or two preceding the Evolution Combat coming out, and I'm not really sure why that was. Um, it could also be just because that's when I was active in YouTube and aware of it happening, and there's lots of people who started before and after. But I think you're the most active on YouTube and exploring other channels when you're first starting out yourself because you're looking for inspiration and what other people are doing. So that's probably why I'm like most aware of that period of time.
mm-hmm. I mean, you could translate it into market research if you're taking YouTube very seriously. Like looking what works, what doesn't work, without having to because YouTube is trial and error, basically. I'm sure you've found that out yourself as well with certain videos, which ones people like, which ones people absolutely dislike. Actually, that's a good question. Have you ever had a video that just got bombed? A RuneScape video, not other content, like your Dark Souls, I think you did at some point, and Fallout 3, 4. Uh,
Yeah, those didn't do as poorly as I thought in terms of like likes and dislikes for being on a RuneScape exclusive channel up to that point. But I think there are definitely videos that perform better or worse. In terms of a video that got bombed, um, I mean, I made a video once where it was like a vote, and it was like, if you want this, like the video. If you want this, dislike the video. And that one got bombed pretty hard.
uh, that's not something I expected to hear, to be honest.
That's an interesting way to do it as well because it impacts the algorithm and things, right? When people are
Yeah,
interacting, so that's pretty cool.
yeah. Is it?
Um, I,
Is
I I
oh
think I have uploaded a couple videos that were kind of like a mistake. Like there was some sort of huge audio problem, or I just like got something wrong in the video. And I think for the most part, I tried to catch those pretty quickly and like delete them and then like fix the issue and then re-upload them. Um, but in terms of just like if we want to talk about videos that perform better than others, like that's definitely a case. I think both of you guys are probably aware like making a guide on a major piece of content is going to perform way better than
Mhm.
anything
yeah.
else, but
And new
especially
content,
like
especially.
If it's new,
yeah.
it's just people like break their mouse trying to get on the video, dude. That's a very extreme way of describing it, but that's basically what it is. Or I don't think you've ever done this. I know Waterlicious had a hand in doing it. If you put Jagex in the title or something.
Oh, that
Oh
doesn't do well?
no,
It
it's the
does
opposite.
very well.
If you put Jagex
Oh,
bad,
okay.
boom, dude. People just hop onto it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
I think I
interesting.
found your video. Is it the Rune Labs idea? It has a 58%. Hold up.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that one.
Oh, crap, dude. 583 likes, 420. I think it's this one where you're like, if you dislike this idea, dislike the video. Probably that
I
has
think
to
a
be.
lot of people actually disliked that video because they were saying like, "Oh, you just have this idea because you have like a ton of one keystone and you want to transfer them all," which was definitely true. So I
Oh,
that was definitely part of it.
okay. Oh, interesting, dude. I was wondering like, why I had such a extreme like to dislike ratio.
Yeah, I think part of that video's inspiration was I mean, the nice way of looking at it is like, oh, the keystones, I think especially at the time, had like a massive margin of what keystones were worth more and what keystones were worth less based on GE prices. And I was like, oh, this could be a good way to kind of balance that out a little bit, if that's even necessary to do. But also, it was because on my Iron Man, I can't remember which keystone it was, but I went super dry on like 1 or 2 keystones. Are they even called keystones? I don't remember.
Yeah, they are,
The
yeah.
things that the legions drop.
Yeah, keystone.
But I had so many signets of like all the other ones. But of course, on an Iron Man, there's nothing you can do because you can't buy signets.
That's why I don't play Iron Man mode. Easy clap, dude.
Yeah,
I'm the only one that doesn't like Iron Man mode here. Or in the entire Runescape community, for that matter. I think, like, everyone loves Iron Man. I'm just like, yeah, dude, you can't buy stuff.
yeah.
I like buying stuff.
It does make everything way harder.
Yes. But that idea, perhaps you got dislikes because people thought you were trying to change their merching plans or whatever, or you're trying to merch. Because we've had that comment or something like that. I'm not sure.
I have it 24/7 now. Like, I made one video and now it's just the center of half of the comments. So, like, I made a video yesterday or day before about elite clues, and then I just get a comment, "Nice wyvern crossbow merch." It's like,
Dude,
Yeah.
I did like this.
the video's like a month old now, right?
No, it's like 2-3 months old, man.
What? Okay, time's flying, dude. This isn't good.
Yeah, it's like 2 months old or something. But like, yeah, the wyvern crossbows went up, but I didn't have any or anything like that, and people just don't seem to believe it because it can be done. They expect that it does get done. I have no use for money. I give
Y-
away like 90% of the money that I make to my community. So why would
Make
I
a-
manipulate my community to make more money that I don't need? It makes no sense. Like,
I mean, you could Robin Hood it, in a way. Like, oh yeah, I'm making money of my viewers, but I'm giving it back. Kick W, dude. Nah,
but
but
Robin Hood
That's
sold
true.
from the rich and gave to the poor. I'd be stealing from the poor, giving to the poor.
oh, at least
Because-
it's like a non-waste cycle. I'm kidding. Obviously, it's not good, but
I think you just called all of your viewers poor.
well,
Ooh.
nah. Like, so the
Ooh,
people who would be buying
it's
the
like-
wyvern crossbow are people who couldn't afford ascensions. So they would be
Yeah, good
some
point.
of the poorer people.
Relatively poor.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, what's another word for not being able to afford something? It's 4 letters. P.
POUR.
Pure.
Wow, well done.
What about
Poor?
being an Iron Man? If you just main an Iron Man account and don't play anything else, then you can't be accused for price manipulation, because why would
True.
it help you out anyway?
I mean, he
I
has
play
like
an
5
Iron
Iron
Man.
Mans.
No, I don't have 5.
You have
But
like an
sure.
ultimate one. You have
Hardcore.
your regular. No, wait. Didn't
I only
you
have the
a-
hardcore and the no bank, but I don't play the no bank anymore.
Wait, didn't you have more? I swear
I've
you've done
made
like
some for like random challenges
Yes.
or something, but yeah, just
No.
my hardcore that's maxed and my no bank account, which got very, very annoying because I had to continuously make my own rules up and stuff, and
Yikes.
kind of sucked in that regards because I felt like I was like doing correct choices, but there'd always be people that disagree, and it would cause a lot of issues in that regards. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, it's just such a crazy thing; it's easy to get burnt out playing it.
Yep. So speaking of Iron Man, right? I Rise Son of Iron episode 42 when?
Exactly, dude. When you get back on the Iron Man.
You have the
Was that the
account, right?
last one?
I'm pretty sure it's 42 or it's 40. I'll just check for you.
It was in the 40s. Yeah, I can remember that.
41 is the last one. There we go.
So here's the thing. I have cleared out my bank on my Iron Man.
Huh?
For the purpose of paying for
Bonds?
bonds.
No, dude.
Yeah.
You drop like, I don't know, your weapons, your supplies to sell your
Yeah.
main, and then
The knock staff,
gosh.
all of the drops,
No,
all of
dude.
the tradable supplies.
Rebuild when?
Yeah, even more reason to play the Iron Man, because then it's
That's true.
Rise
From
Son
scratch.
of Iron version 2.0 from the dead, and then
The actual Rise, yeah.
yeah.
We'll see. I don't know if I have a whole lot of inspiration to play Iron Man mode at the moment. Could totally see it happening in the future, though. I mean, there's a lot of things don't miss about Iron Man. There are a lot of things that I do miss about Iron Man.
But at the same time, like, you want to do something that you're definitely going to enjoy coming back. You don't want to burn yourself out instantly. So if Iron Man's going to burn you out, then yeah, stick to your main and have fun with that, and just enjoy the game for what it is. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Because burnout's a real thing. Especially, yeah. My attempts to play old school the past couple of years, and maybe not having a YouTube channel to maintain is a big part of it. But I just found it's really, really easy to burn out, especially when you're doing grindy stuff, which you have to do a lot on Iron Man.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of things that I've like neglected on my Iron Man as such, but just because like it's just not fun content to watch and stuff, and you have to do like 200 hours of grinding for like a 3-4 minute part of a video, and it's just it does get crazy.
The thing is though, like mid to high level Iron Man content is the best content. I honestly I find early game Iron Man content to watch extremely boring.
It's
'Cause it's
mostly just
like
quests and
yeah,
grinding skills,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
And I think where Muncle ended off was pretty high end. I'm gonna have to just like a friend as well who pretty much dropped off after he got like 96 summoning and all that stuff. After he, like it was just grinding levels, he just stopped the series.
Yeah, so I think the problem with Iron Man is my goal had been finish Nox weapon for so long, and I really wanted either a Nox scythe or bow. And I finished a Nox weapon. It was the staff, so not quite exactly what I was going for, but like I had a tier 90 weapon, and you'd think like, oh, this unlocks so much content. You know, there's so much. I can't remember if Telos was out in the game or not, but so a great way to kill a lot of bosses with kill speeds that were previously unattainable. Um, but the hard part is like when your goal is finish that tier 90 for so long and then you finish it, it just there's kind of like this void, this like empty feeling of like I've done it, like I need a new goal now and I don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
That's very relatable in like any goal RuneScape wise. If it's a big goal, that just makes perfect sense. Really, it just does.
Yeah, the sense of feeling lost after completing.
Yeah, maxing, getting a 290 weapon, getting X amount of money, getting this 120, that 120,
Yeah.
remaxing, whatever it may be. Trim. What's that noise? You don't like?
Well, I don't know if that's an attainable goal for most of us.
No, I mean, trim is a little too much.
It's just I don't know. It just seems like so many pointless things. Like, why do you have to kill 4,000 chompy birds? You know, like
Because you need to be a slaughterhouse in action,
yeah.
dude.
It's just I
You
don't
gotta
know.
know
There's
what it's
so many
like.
things. At least they took away the Castle Wars requirement for trim. That makes it way more obtainable for a lot of players. To be fair.
Can you just do like any mini game now with the spotlight,
No, so
or
they
you just don't
you
have to do
used
mini
to
games?
yeah. So what people used to do is they either use Thaler on it, or they would just AFK Castle Wars on Spotlight and get the Castle Wars tokens and Thaler. And then they just
Okay.
e-date in Castle Wars for 20 minutes every time and carry on. But yeah, they completely removed Castle Wars now from Trim.
Hell
I
yeah.
imagine a lot of people who did that were pretty upset.
Yeah, but then they got a Halo that they all complained about as well because it wasn't nice enough or whatever. So it swings and roundabouts.
hmm So, Munkle, you have not tried Elite Dungeons whatsoever, right? Nothing.
Yeah, not yet.
Talos, Solak, AOD, maybe?
So Telos, I think might have been in the game. Did he come out with the release of
No,
Star
2016.
Wars Dungeon 2?
no,
Or was
Yes.
that
No,
later?
wait. It was
he
like
did not.
3. It wasn't 2016 though, right? Or am
Yeah,
I
it was
crazy?
after the release of the others. So you played and tested out those bosses, but I don't think
No.
Telos was out when you done your
No.
Okay,
guides
so
on the other
Telos,
bosses.
the only point where I've played RS where Telos was in the game, I was working on a low level Iron Man. So, and I don't remember Solak coming out. So he's new for me as well.
Oh. Hmm. Maikeru, you wanna group PvM with Munkle sometime?
I'm down, yeah. If he
But
is, of course.
yeah. Because I already offered him like Elite Dungeons or any other bossy. Because I'm not sure if he wants to get the Reaper title, but if he does have some help from people who are experienced, that might be a good idea.
Could make for some pretty fun content as well, like collaboration.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm totally down. It's mostly just a schedule thing.
Yep.
Yeah, the hard part is the best time I have to play RS right now is when I have class or homework. So it's difficult to do that and PvM at the same time. I'm doing my best though.
Yeah, definitely.
I know what you mean. Yeah, like only if you have time in between, it's a possibility. Otherwise, AFKing RuneScape while doing classes might not be the best idea, but that's pretty easy to do. Just like I don't know, archaeology, for example. Not
Oh
sure
yeah,
what your level is now.
I'm
Uh,
closing in on 70, but I found archaeology like you can still pick up most of what is being said in lecture and do archaeology just fine.
yeah.
Especially
Uh,
if you have alt
how fun is archaeology in your opinion, 1 to 10? And because after 60 or so, the freshness, you're in Everlight District, right? And it's like
forever.
60 to 70 is like I,
It's
I
a grind,
almost
yeah.
I almost just gave up. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Even when
I absolutely loved getting up to, I don't know, 50, 55. And then it did get really grindy and I've kind of slowed down, but it's helped because, getting an archaeology daily every day, if you're maxed in every other skill, that helps because it's a decent amount of XP. I was sending the missions for a while. I've kind of stopped doing that. And that was helping out quite a bit. So I wasn't just purely grinding out, loads and loads of damaged artifacts and repairing them because that does take forever. But I think I'm comparing it to the release of other skills like divination when that came out, especially pre-Gothixian caches.
Yeah.
That one was really painful because it was slow like archaeology. I think archaeology is actually slower, at least up to this point.
it
But
is.
divination was really slow, but it was just doing the same thing, for
Yeah.
10 straight levels, and then you move and you just do the exact same thing in a different location. But archaeology, I think the mysteries have been awesome. I think the whole like collector's log of like find this many artifacts of, you know, from all these piles and all these different regions, that's been awesome. So
Mhm.
there's all this extra
Mhm.
content and like little
Qualifications as
unlockables
well.
that you don't normally get with a skill that just help you push through the grind.
Plus, like 50 to 70 is the worst part of archaeology. I always say 1 to 50 is nice and fun. 50 to 70 is horrible because you're stuck in forever light and there's not much changing and it's so slow. 70 to 90, it gets a lot better. 90 to 99, it's really good. And then 99 to 120 is insane. Like, it's just absolutely insane.
Yeah, a lot of people in my friends chat who have been talking about like their grind to 120 archaeology have, for the most part really enjoyed it. So it must get better as a skill.
Yeah, and it gets a lot faster. That's the big thing as well.
After 99, you mean, right? Because I honestly found the
90
last
to
levels to be
99
quite
is
slow.
fine. 90 to 99, if you're using boosts and stuff, it's like 250k an hour. It's pretty good.
I was AFKing really hard. Maybe that's why I was like working out on my phone, mobile,
Yeah.
by the way, and like
Yeah,
just
okay, if
just
you're
doing hard.
AFK and not following time strike and stuff, that
No,
affects
yeah,
XP rates a lot. But
Well, if
yeah,
you're super
19.
AFK, who cares what the XP rate is? That's kind
Yeah,
of my main
well,
philosophy is I'll always choose the super AFK thing, even if it's slower. Um, because then I can, play another game on the side, I can watch a movie, I can do whatever.
same. Because I don't know, man. Like skilling, once you've maxed your account, you kind of don't really want to do like a full 99 anymore, especially one as slow as like archaeology.
yeah, who does that?
Yeah, like it's kind of like for content creation, it's so good. It's new skill, big content, lots of depth, lots of things to cover. But in terms of actual training, you kind of want to get to 99 or 120 in your case, or actually 200 mil in your case, Maikeru, as fast as possible to get back to normal.
Well, I just wanted to get the rank, but
You did.
yeah,
Well, yeah,
yeah.
close enough. You wanted
I
number one.
wanted top. No, I wanted top 25. So I done a
Oh,
lot better than I thought I would, which
I
is
thought
nice.
you wanted to go for like number one, like beat
That's
was
what
it Lamy?
everyone thought. That's what everyone thought, and then everyone was like, "You let me down, losing to me." I was like, "Mate, my goal, which I have always said in every single video leading up to archaeology, was top 25, and I got full. I'm more than like happy with that. It's insane. I just wanted front page.
No hard feelings against Omid and Lamy.
Oh no, they've done like Omid was probably the best out of everyone because he didn't have a Tony's Matic and he managed to get third place, half an hour behind Lee and half an hour in front of me. So me, Lee, and Omid were literally an hour apart for second,
Wow.
third, and fourth.
Kind of
But Omid like stayed up for like 72 hours and went absolutely ham and became the Tony's Matic.
70.
So
That's almost like a death switch, a
mm,
wish in terms of gaming, right? I don't know how long you did, but uh, that's really long.
it's insane, yeah.
I don't know. Did he like walk around in between? I'm not sure. Did
Yeah,
you
I
actually?
guess so. I guess he probably did, and like taking breaks here and there was obviously helpful. I did the same, but I was only doing like I say only. I was doing like 20 to 22-hour days.
Filthy
Um,
casual, dude. 22?
so
Yikes.
so the fact that
Come
he got a
on.
72 is just absurd. He did say he passed out halfway through, and his brother woke him up once he'd been
What?
napping for like 40 minutes because he got his
What?
brother to wake him up if he ever fell asleep.
Because that's XP waste?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
literally was. Oh,
Yeah,
but
so he
Jesus.
became the Tony's Matic, and it didn't matter that he didn't have the hero item. He was the hero item kind of thing. That's why I was the most impressed with Omid out of everyone. Lamy had the Tony's Matic like for 4 days before the second place, which was Lee. So Lee got his Tony Matic about 4 days after Lamy. I got mine about half a day after Lee. Uh, then Ken got his like half a day after me, and then we were like in the order pretty much. So it showed how much the Tony's Matic did help. But obviously, we thought there was going to be more coming into the game, so we were a bit more relaxed about it. But there was a 4 day period between the second and the third Matic, which made it very
Wow.
very difficult. But
Okay.
yeah, Omid didn't even have a Matic, and he came third, which is insane, absolutely insane. And that
Hench,
doesn't
dude.
take anything away from like Lamy and stuff. He still put in his like 20 to 22-hour days as well, and still efficient and everything. Right? He's still done insane, but yeah, Omid MVP.
I guess that could lead into a question like, what's the longest session you've had on RuneScape, Muncle?
Oh, the longest like without getting up and taking a break, or just
Yeah, yeah. Or like
uh,
maybe like the longest day with breaks counted in.
I've done some 12, 14-hour days.
Whew.
I'm not sure if I've ever gone longer than that, mostly just because, um, not that I wouldn't be willing to like pull an all-nighter for an insane grind, my body won't let me. I have a very hard time staying awake, past 11 p.m. or midnight.
Hey, same, dude. Sleep is
I can
good.
pretty much only do it if it's like a social situation or like a party or I'm out.
Yeah, okay, yeah, kind of same. True.
Plus, you want to maintain your routine for everything that you're doing, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I'd rather like just not sleep very much and get up early, as opposed to like staying up for 48 hours or some insane amount of time.
Also same. Okay, so basically, you're the only content creator, only RuneScape player I have seen with a normal sleep schedule.
Really, I didn't know that was uncommon.
No, no, dude, I swear, Micro, you have a weird. You're like streaming like God. It's because of you. Because how many people do you know with like a bad sleep schedule, Micro?
Decent amount.
Yeah, see that like pretty much anyone I talk to is like pulling all nighters or like playing RuneScape at 3 a.m. Dude, I don't understand. I can't comprehend
I
why.
think it's just gamers in general, not just like RuneScape specifically. I think people who play games typically play them at silly hours or to a crazy degree, especially if they have time off of work or time off of school.
What if for work you have to get up at like I don't know 6 a.m. maybe 7 depending on where you're.
Yeah, it depends on the job, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, for sure, but still, like,
Yeah, I used to work mornings and I would work 7 to noon. Um, Now I do class in the mornings, which is really, really nice because you still have to get up early, but at least you don't have to like get ready for your day or anything.
Hmm.
And I work noon to 4 now, which is really nice.
nice. You can
But
just
it's
vibe in your chair for school
yeah, It's
for
it's
now at
hard to
least.
have a weird sleep schedule if you have, like, a normal work school schedule. I mean, unless you're okay just being really sleep deprived or taking naps during the day or something, but I I have found it's like, if you're doing class from, like, 8 a.m. to whatever, and then you're working until 4 or 5 p.m. It's really, really hard to have a weird sleep schedule if you have that kind of life schedule.
Mhm. Mhm. So, unless Micro wants to mention anything about the topic, I wanna.
I'm a full-time nerd that doesn't sleep at normal times. I don't yeah.
Well, then it doesn't matter. Like if you're just making videos, like it doesn't matter if you're doing it at 3 a.m. unless you live with people, I guess, you know. But yeah, I guess you can just set your own schedule.
Yeah, I just
I
need to make
definitely
sure
used to
I'm
stay up
there for
way later.
stream. Yeah, exactly. I just need to make sure I'm like there to stream on time, which I am, but I stream in the evenings anyway. And like I do sometimes sleep at ungodly hours, but if I'm grinding something for a stream or a video, it doesn't really matter when I sleep, just as long as I get the sleep kind of thing. But I used to work in education and stuff, and I used to get up at like 7 a.m. and stuff in the morning. It's not like I can't do it. It's just sometimes it's easier to just grind out the rest of this thing until like 3 a.m. and then sleep rather than wake up and grind it in the morning because I'm like in the zone or whatever. I'll just do it. But yeah,
That Oh, I
no,
saw
no,
Monko mute himself, so I was like, I'll
yeah.
hold myself.
Sorry, I just muted myself to cough. I didn't have anything to say.
Yeah, that. Okay. But yeah, Micro, you're mostly like you just plan like your day around streaming, right? And then the videos you just see whenever you can make it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, the videos are difficult now with the amount of streaming I do. So, like, I definitely upload less than I used to. I do like 2 videos a week. I used to do like 4 videos a week, but 2 videos a week is still a decent amount and still hopefully a nice amount of content for people to tune into. But it's one of those things where I take 2 days off a week to make videos, and they're the 2 videos that I get out kind of thing because I can't really edit, stream, do real life stuff. If anything with family, friends, all of that, like, it's impossible
Mhm.
to balance everything. I know a lot of people that, either quit streaming and focus all on YouTube or quit YouTube and focus all on streaming because it's just such a crazy grind. I know, like, you didn't enjoy streaming tons and you wanted to focus more on YouTube, so you stopped
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Then the RS guy's the opposite. He stopped YouTube because he wanted to focus on streaming. So it is difficult, and a lot of people that do like the really big uploads all the time while streaming are like they have like their own editors and things, right?
You want to do a shout at like anyone in the chat or like you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Looking for
No, so like I have a friend who has edited a couple of videos for me. He's Zowski. He's probably known to a decent amount of people. But he edited a couple of the videos together, like the deal or no deal and stuff like that I've done on stream. But the thing with me is that I can't just hire an editor because an editor's not going to make guides. Like
yeah, it's kind of weird. You can't.
shit.
I'm sure Monko can relate as well. Like, how would you let someone else edit a guide for you? Because for the guide, you like make it step by. It's kind of yeah, it's
Yeah,
weird.
it's like impossible. So I have like some stream related stuff that someone will edit for me. So like I have like 800 videos on my channel, and only 5 of them were not edited by me. So it puts it into perspective, like how it's like near enough impossible to do on a lot of things. But
Hmm.
that's why I take the 2 days off streaming to get the 2 videos out, and then I stick to that, and it's normally okay.
I think it's really hard to hire an editor for, and I know like filmmakers, people who make shows do this all the time. So there's got to be a way, but I think it's really hard to have an editor for something like a guide because you have to put a lot of creative direction into it.
Hmm.
Because you know what you want the guide to look like you know the format, you know the important points to cover and focus on, but like they don't know that. So it almost feels like it would take so much time just kind of explaining what you need to do. You might as well just do it yourself.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Exactly. The only way it could work is if you're like one of those big boy streamers that own I don't know Pokimane, that Hearthstone guy, Toast.
Disguised toast.
This guy's Toast. You know, just yeet out highlights. Basically, what Wazzy does, but then let someone else do it for you.
Yeah, so highlights work very well, and they're the ones that have been edited for me. My deal or no deal is my Who Wants to Be a Billionaire with Will Miss It. Like those type of videos that were just ripped from stream, I've had other people edit, which was super helpful.
Hmm.
But like I can't do that with guides, right? So if I was someone that done like variety content or whatever, it'd be I guess easier because you don't do guides on that. You just like show gameplay, and then they can rip it from stream and put it together. That's why people like the Pokemon and Disguised Toast and stuff who get like daily videos out. It's just because they take it from their daily stream, you know.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Exactly.
Hearthstone is like the perfect game for that. I personally play a lot of Hearthstone. It's been my go-to game if I'm doing something AFK on RuneScape for forever, for as long as Hearthstone's been out. But that game is just like so perfect for highlights, because that's that's what you're doing is you're playing the game, and then most people that upload Hearthstone content, it's just them playing on stream. But I think RuneScape, because of the fact that you can make guides, is just like not nearly as well suited for that. So it just really depends on the game.
Also, yeah, that's a really good point. You know, a game I can think of that's like really bad for highlights. It's probably like a single player game. Okay, maybe not, but like a game where you should care about the story and the person playing it. It's like really bad if you like cut parts out.
Yeah, but then they can do like let's plays and get like 10 episodes out of it from like free streams. Then they're
Yeah, dude, like yeet, just full blown. I know a couple of big YouTubers that do that.
That's how it works, dude. What is it? Work
Imagine.
smart, not hard, or whatever it is.
I mean, yeah. I'm not saying it's bad or anything. It's more power to them, dude. Imagine if you could literally RuneScape Let's Plays, right? I know there's one YouTuber that yeets out like 3-hour episodes, uncut, basically. That no one would watch. On a large scale, like imagine just looking at someone's progress series, OSRS series, right? Like every bit of content without anything cut out, like a Let's Play. Oh man, I can't imagine watching that.
Even
Dude.
RS3, dude. Like just the
Ah,
amount of videos I've done on content like progression where it's like 100 hours in like a 10-minute video. Imagine that not cut down, just you AFK mining. Like, hello.
oh man.
Well,
It just doesn't
I
work
think
for RuneScape.
there used to be like more of a space for that. But now, because well, I think A, there's like so much more content out there, and B, like there's podcasts now, and usually if someone is just wanting to like throw something on in the background, I think 4 or 5 years ago, like those longer videos where it was just mostly a lot of talking, not really a whole lot going on, there was like more room to actually do that. But now there's so many podcasts to listen to, like I don't, and those have such higher quality of editing and stuff. Like I don't know how you compete with that just by like playing RuneScape or something and talking about it.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think it really that's actually a good point, right? I actually wanted to talk about that as well. Like, so the best quality guides, 5 to 10 years ago, right, RuneScape, are like so different to what they would be now. In general, actually, every gaming niche, the just the quality of videos has gone up so much. Like, if you upload a RuneScape guide with unregistered Hypercam 2, right, and you're typing on Notepad, it won't work. It just simply you probably won't even be able to get any views at all. It's kind of crazy how things have shifted in terms of quality. That it's called like a order qualifier. Is that like the term? Um, I'm not sure if you guys are like familiar with that term. It's a business
Yeah,
term, but like
I'm familiar with the concept.
so yeah. To even like compete in certain gaming video niche markets or uh, categories or niches is so different to what it used to be.
Yeah, and especially because a lot of the people who make videos on games and stuff are people that have editors, like we said about. So they just focus on creating funny moments and good things towards in the game, and then they let their editor go and put in loads of good memes and loads of fancy editing and all of that, and they can focus on just making the content, when as their editor focuses just on editing it. It makes it so the quality is just insane on some stuff. Like Swampletics is like the perfect example, right?
He doesn't edit his videos?
He does some of the editing, but he doesn't always do all of it. For example, on his like 512-hour grind in temple tracking, where it had him going through temple trekking in the cinematic and fighting stuff with all the flashy stuff. That
Yeah.
was Little Smokey that edited that for him.
Oh, no wonder
he-
it looks so similar, dude.
So Little
Oh.
Smokey is absolutely insane at editing. So you had all of the grind that he done, and he put in all of that effort. But then he had someone else also putting in a ton of effort with the editing, and then it just makes a masterpiece at the end, you know?
Okay. Yeah, it's basically splitting up just tasks, and the best person at this does that kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually the dream if you're a streamer, probably.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
You should make an ad on your YouTube channel looking for editors, dude.
But
Just
then what are
have-
they going to edit?
the clues maybe.
But like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just impossible to have an editor for half of the RuneScape stuff.
Yeah, because if it would kind of lose the micro touch kind of thing, you know?
Not even just that. It's just like, I don't really know how someone would make something like what I do, because
You could only trust someone with experience as well.
yeah, but like what Muncles said, right? Where if you're making a guide, you have your vision for it and stuff. Yeah, they might do the guides and it might be cool, but yeah, it's not going to be your guide.
Oh
at that point,
yeah,
is it, right?
yeah.
It's going to be
Fair, fair.
the editor's guide. Why don't they make a channel? You know, it's
Yeah, good point. Yeah, for RuneScape it might not. No, never mind.
I think for editors, it really matters whether your channel is a personality channel or like a content channel. Because if it's a personality, and that's why people are subbed to you, is to see you talk and hear your views on things, then you can have an editor. Because like, why does it really matter what the background footage is? But if it's a content channel, then if you hire an editor, the content is going to look very different than if you were creating your own and had your own personal touch on it. So I think RuneScape is probably a game that trends much more towards content than personality. Although, when it comes to streaming, that's probably more of a personality thing.
I can agree with that. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. So, Munkle, what is your opinion on MTX microtransactions, Treasure Hunter, Yak Track, that kind of thing? Because recently, it's been in the talks.
Well, I know it's been a controversy since since Wheel of Fortune and since the very early days when it first came out. I think it's a difficult question to answer. I tend to be anti-MTX. Like I don't personally want to use them. I would rather unlock something myself than getting a free thing. I think over time though, because initially I was very against Squeal of Fortune, like this is ruining the game. But I think over time I've mellowed a little bit just because like that's the industry now. Like it's very difficult to find any game without MTX. And I think I've kind of decided like there's a way it can be done right. Because a lot of games are free to play and completely support themselves on cosmetics, and I think that's awesome. If you can deliver a game that's quality and people enjoy it, and the only monetization it has is like you can buy a suit and look different in game. I think if you can, if you can sustain that, that's amazing. But the problem with RS3 is it goes beyond that, right? Like you can buy XP and items and stuff. And I think that's kind of where it crosses a line and it's too much. It doesn't bother you if you play RS enough, I feel like, because you just get used to it. But I agree, it's probably like a huge turnoff for a lot of people looking at the game and being like, oh, you can just buy all your levels.
But the thing is, it's so expensive, though. Like, that's
Yeah,
the
it's
only
not really
argument.
feasible.
I'm not like not against NTX, but I'm not like against it. Like big time or anything. It's because it's so expensive.
I think
Yeah, I'm not
on.
like up in arms against it anymore. But I think like MTX that affects your in-game progress is probably a bridge too far in terms of like me being willing to support it. I'm more like, yes, cosmetics are awesome. If a game company can supplement themselves or even make all of their income off of that, that's amazing. But when it comes to in-game MTX, I personally am not really a huge fan.
So for me personally, obviously, MTX is not great, but I think it's to the point where it's too late, even if they were to completely remove it, because the damage is done, kind of thing. I feel like they're getting some promos that are
Yeah.
way too overpowered, which sucks, obviously, and the power creep is the bad part of it. I think they should calm down with some of it for sure, and it doesn't have to just always get better for it to be sold because people are going to buy it regardless.
Mhm.
And cosmetics are some of the best things in MTX that sell, like the zombie walk and the assassin walk and everything like that. They just need to do more events like that, in my opinion. So they should just dole down the XP side and up the cosmetic side a little bit, like what we were talking about. But at the same time, MTX doesn't really affect the people that really, really, really care about XP because whenever a new skill is released, it can't be MTX for 6 months. So the archaeology race that I was part of, no one was able to get an upper hand for any type of microtransactions. Nothing that could be obtained via microtransactions worked on the skill. So yes, MTX bad. Yes, MTX read not good. But at the same time, like the people that really, really care about XP are not going to be at all worried by it because yeah, it's easier to get XP now than maybe when I done it back in the day or whoever done it back in the day. But when it actually matters, MTX won't be part of it.
Yeah, I agree, and also I think that it depends on your style of play, whether you play RS competitively or more for personal achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you play it for personal achievement, then you just don't buy MTX. You could even ignore Treasure Hunter completely if you want to, and just finish all of your goals yourself, and then it shouldn't really matter whether MTX are in the game or not. I mean, I think I trend more towards that play style. But
Yeah.
for people who are competitive, like I also understand why it has been upsetting in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what about the yak track then? Which is mostly like it's cosmetic, but it's like a really, really nasty grind kind of thing.
I don't know enough about Yak Track to
Is this
really comment on that.
because because the yak track is like so we're talking about like competitive players, casual players kind of thing. The yak track is for both because even like if you spend money, you don't get an advantage. You only get like the cosmetics fast. It's like a Fortnite. What is it? Pass.
Battle Pass.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Which is like in Call of Duty, they have it. They have it in RuneScape now. They have it in World of Tanks. They have it in a bunch of games.
So wait, are you
Like
talking Battle Pass like give us money now for stuff that may or may not come out in the future?
no. Like you have different levels you can get by grinding, or you can just pay to skip the levels, or
Okay.
you have a buy. RuneScape had Rune Pass twice, where it
One,
is
I think.
where you did pay beforehand, and you just get more rewards if you got the premium version by grinding through. I think. Don't remember exactly how it worked, but yeah. So I don't know how you guys feel about that, but
That's probably more along the lines of like acceptable MTX because it's mostly cosmetic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I wanna ask you both about this question. Actually, this is a very important one. So I'm sure Munclesonkey, you know what the PvM Hub is. I've seen you in there. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts
I've
on
been
the
loving it
PvM
so
Hub?
far.
Okay,
Well,
that was quick. Boom.
I guess that answers the question. I think it's awesome. And I will say, so when I first came back to RS3, the first I don't even want to say a week. First few days, I wasn't aware of the PvM hub, and how how convenient it is. Um, and I was really, really missing like the houses in old school because it feels like it unlocks so much in terms of just like how you get around the game. Because if you fully upgrade your house in old school, you can you tele to your house, you restore your stats, you can do anything, you can go anywhere. It makes everything incredibly convenient. And I was like, oh, RuneScape 3 doesn't have something like this. Um, so I feel like without the PvM hub, it's something like you don't know you miss until it's gone. Um, but I also totally see how like it devalues, the max guild because previously that was the way you have a teleport to a bank and restore your stats and go to any boss
Mhm.
and now everyone has access to that. But I think overall it's more good than bad because it gets more people PVMing and more people experiencing like the best content this game has to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Actually, I
lock
didn't.
it. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say locking, PvM content behind getting 99 all skills and stuff, like with the portals and everything in the max guild, was just kind of silly. It's like the reason why comp rework was changed, right? Because locking behind the best in slot cape to achievements that are to do with player owned farms, of course, a PvM is going to be annoyed when they have to go do player owned farms to get their best in slot PvM cape. So they've separated that. They've made the PvM hub so people can focus on what they want to do in the game. So they don't have to focus on things that they can't be bothered to do and burn themselves out doing those just to try and unlock something that benefits them in another area. And I think they've done that really, really well, and they need to continue doing that because RuneScape is all about doing what you want to do, and it's like sandbox. You can choose your journey, but then if you're forced to do this to make that optimal, it's kind of sucky, right?
Yeah, I love the idea of that personally. I can't think of a whole lot of games that force you to play content that you may not enjoy doing in order to unlock stuff. I mean, RuneScape has been one of them, obviously, but yeah, I'm a huge proponent of just allowing the player to do what they want to do and not forcing them into these grinds that they may not enjoy, because like burnout is the main reason why anyone quits RS, and that's how you get burnout, is by forcing yourself into a grind that you don't want to do.
Or Dailyscape. It's kind of like
Or-
it's not
or
really grind, but
kind of.
Dailies are brutal for burning out. I'm trying to like limit the amount of dailies I do just to avoid that.
good, dude. Please stick to that because otherwise we'll have another 4-year break before you come back. As a joke, by the way. I
Yeah.
don't. Yeah. The dailies. I mean, what is your full opinion on dailies? Because I think dailies. They give the player that wants to do them every day a chance to get through content quicker, right? But it also like puts people in that rhythm of like having to do them, because if you don't, you're like not efficient. And I know you, Munkle, as one of the few players, don't necessarily care that much about efficiency, right? You just said it as well, like AFKing, I prefer that kind of thing, and uh, yeah, like I'm kind of like that way as well. I prefer to just do something casually and not get burnt out and not worry as much. While my group, for example, with the archaeology race, was the exact opposite. Trying to get as as far as he could within a certain period of time. So yeah, what's your like full opinion on dailies?
I mean, it's tough because I think a lot of them are cool. I've been a fan of like monthly activities. Um, I think those are great because there's a lot more time flexibility in when you can do them because you have a whole 30 days. But I don't really love the idea of weeklies or dailies for XP. It's kind of nice to have things like Potion Flask because like it's a really quick thing you do. You augment your cash stack. If you're good on money, you totally don't have to do it. It's not like you're missing out on this super efficient thing. But when it came to maxing, I think that the XP related dailies or weeklies are just really hard because it feels like you're missing out on this like massive thing if you don't go out of your way to do it. But you really don't want to go out of your way to do it because you just want to focus on your 99 grind, or you want to focus on your your boss kills or whatever it is. I think the hardest one for me personally was Gathixian caches. And I got 99 divination on my main. I don't remember if I got them before it came out or like recently after, but I didn't really worry about doing them on my main. But on my Iron Man, it's like, oh, I have to do Gathixian caches. I have to go do this activity I really don't want to do, and I find is really boring. And it's you have to like take this 10-minute segment out of your regularly scheduled day
Oh
to
yeah,
go do the activity, and it was awful. But it feels like you're missing out on so much XP if you don't do it. It feels like you have to.
that's
Yeah.
kind of like toxic game design, right? Because they know you're gonna max.
There's a lot
They
of games like that, though, right?
Oh yeah. It's not like RuneScape is bad because they're the only ones that do it. No way. But like, I totally agree with the maxing part. Like, I think many players can relate that when they are like going for max or they're doing something on Iron Man that could be done faster with dailies, they really feel that like force to do it, because otherwise they'd be doing the same thing but just like I don't know, divination, like doing divination for like 4 times as long. Like that's hella boring.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's kind of yeah.
I think so. I think the better way to balance it, and I'm not. This is completely a personal preference thing, but I like the idea of mini games or activities as opposed to regular training methods instead of like this daily thing that you have to do at a regularly scheduled time. Or if you do have a daily, have it be something you can do like at any point. I think
Oh
just like the
yeah.
time aspect of like, okay, I'm standing on a bank, I'm waiting for that exact moment to teleport and do
Mhm.
this thing, and I can only do it at this time, so I can't miss it. That's what really adds a lot of
I
stress and
completely
pressure
agree.
onto daily.
That's actually such a good point. That's that's literally like the best way anyone could like balance it out. Just it because if you can do it instantly, it's going to take away from that waiting time, which arguably makes dailies like a longer take like a longer chunk out of your day, right?
That's what's
Huh?
so nice about Viswax and stuff, because you can just go do it, and it takes 5
Whenever you want.
minutes, and you do
Yep.
it whenever. I
So
completely agree with that. They did it for divination a little bit, because caches were every 3 hours. I don't know whether you knew that, Protoxx, but when
What? I
caches
didn't do divination
the
back. Like
caches, when they were originally released for the first, like, year, maybe even 2 years, they were every 3 hours.
yeah, I
So,
remember.
yeah, so, like, they would only open up once every 3 hours rather than once an hour on the hour. It was once every 3 hours on the hour, and you had to keep track of that. And man, that was so much effort doing div caches every single day. So they've made it a bit better over
they
time
nerfed it.
with different stuff.
Yikes.
But
They,
what do you mean they nerfed it?
they nerfed the XP, right?
No, HP's the same.
Wait, what did they end up nerfing then? No, kind
They were
of.
talking about nerfing caches, but they didn't.
They haven't. Wait,
No, caches are
I've
still
been
the same.
lied to. Wait, what?
Caches are
Okay,
still the same.
never mind. My
Caches are still the
brain.
meta.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, no. Hall of Memories is. I mean, yeah, they're still good, but
You do caches till 70, and then you can either continue caches or do Hall of Memories. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hall of Memories is Pog. It's not as good as like it's only like super good if you two take off whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's still good without. But it's like it's just faster than regular training. It's not like it's insane if you like AFK for example, or like do the core thing and
Mhm.
just. Or it's just that I find everything that's slower than 300k per hour. I just don't find it insane. It's
Yeah.
just it's bad. Bad game.
You
So
just say re.
I will say with divination specifically, and also with other skills, like one of my favorite things in this game for an alternative training method is
You had
like
to call.
a temporary thing that you can do, um, and you have a limited amount of XP that you can gain. So I'm mostly thinking of like the Madrat memories with divination and like the empty throne room for like agility and mining. And for
Mhm.
like this very brief period of time, it's like the best XP rate you can get, but you can only do it for so long, so it feels a little bit exclusive, but you can go do it whenever. And it's just like this nice little break from training that you can just go do at any point at your leisure. Um, and it's good XP, it's worth doing. But then like at the end you like complete it and it's done. And it's almost like this side quest that you did in your training. And I kind of wish the game had more of that.
Yeah, they're good things for sure.
Huh. But by the way, for the viewers wondering, like every time that you had to mute yourself just a second ago, right? Because I heard it like a cough coming up. Like, don't worry, just you can just stop in between if you don't want to talk. Then, Munkle. So like,
Okay.
I love your like dedication to complete like your what you were trying to say. Like your voice keeps getting you like feel it charging up kind of thing.
The man's recovering from Rona, let him be.
Yep.
Yeah. Because before someone in comments says, "What's this? Why is this sounding so weird here? What's going on?" But even though we at the start, it was mentioned, but yeah.
Yeah, the
Um.
off hangs on. I've heard that, it can be a month long, couple
Wow.
month process.
Wow.
And that's not for everyone. I think everyone's symptoms are super different. And that's why it's kind of hard to like know what to expect. But yeah, for a lot of people, the cough can hang on for a long time.
Damn. Okay. So you were talking about like you like mini games and like other things in regular training more, right? But how do you feel about mini games being fairly dead? Mostly. I'm
I
not
mean,
sure if you noticed if you've tried any, but
I get it because the reward has to be pretty good to make
Yeah.
it worth doing the minigame. Like, even if it's fun, even if it's great content, like, I think the majority of the player base only wants to do stuff that's worth doing.
Mhm.
Um, so that's hard to balance a minigame because if you make it like the best XP in the game, then no one's going to do the actual skill.
Yeah.
Or if you make it give like insane gear that's like best in slot at multiple places, then people aren't going to use regular weapons and armor. So I don't know the best way to balance mini games. I think it's hard to do. Spotlights might be like a good start, like, for a week during the month, or for 1 month during the year. Like, this is the best agility XP in the game, but then the rest of the year it's not. But it would also have to be like pretty close to the regular XP rate, maybe just like slightly better. Because
Or
otherwise,
bonus XP. Just bonus XP, like
right? Yeah,
500k.
that's
I don't know,
another.
random.
That'd be good because then it warrants you to actually go do the skill. Like Barbarian Assault is the one that's good for like bonus XP and agility, fire making, and mining. That's still played to get that bonus XP. So
Kind of hard to get team apart from
yeah,
the French. I
exactly
think.
right. Mhm.
At least I don't know. It's like it's hard enough. Like it's not hard, but it's like hard enough that
It's a very
like,
elitist thing as well.
yeah, like you have to be good at all the waves, kind of. Yeah,
BA
it's
is like such an elitist place to be. Like if you don't do it tick perfectly, you're not going on the team, kind of thing. In some such
nasty,
circumstances, so
dude.
yeah, it's one of those things. But like, if more mini games were like that, I feel like more people would play them because I personally have done more BA than a lot of other mini games because I wanted that bonus XP.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like the best balanced minigame that I know of, and maybe there have been others that have come out in the past couple of years that have done it better, but I think Stealing Creation was
Hmm.
the best example of one, because um, it may not be anymore, but I know at the time it was like, the best construction XP, or at least very good. Um, and you could be on a team and you could do it more efficiently, but it wasn't like everyone needed to be in perfect sync. It was pretty easy to do on a team. Like, they tell you to go mine this pile and then you go mine that pile. It is fairly simple directions to follow. And then all the XP was bonus. It's not like you're getting construction XP. You
Yep.
still have to go train it, but at the very least, you can cut down on the time and cost quite a bit.
And it doesn't scale with level, which is the biggest thing in my opinion, because it's probably one of the most efficient things to actually do on like low to mid level skills.
Hmm.
So like even if you're level 20, you're gonna get the same amount of bonus experience as long as you perform well.
Right, but with Stealing Creation, to get the most points, you needed like level 80 fishing and mining to like mine those higher tier
Oh yeah, of
nodes. Or, like,
course, but you could still easily hit the goal without the higher tier nodes because I done it on a lower level account like last year or something, and you can still do it. You just need to know the minigame more, but you can do it at the lower levels and still reach a decent amount of points an hour, which means that you're going to get a ton of bonus XP. It's just more AFK at higher levels, I guess, because you don't have to constantly do it because you reach that goal much quicker.
But it's no, never mind. I was going to say something, but my brain was just like, nah, not today, boy.
But yeah, I agree. Stealing Creation is a really, really good example, and I feel like if more minigames were like that or rebalanced, because a lot of that isn't great at the when you
It's
start getting
bad,
higher levels, it's really, really bad compared to
bad.
what
It's
it
fun though.
used
Like
to
it's a fun mini game. I did it on legacy mode on stream once. It's really good.
be. I
That's
did
like
Soul Wars for the first time in I don't know 6 years or something
so
on
easy.
stream. It's so
It's
fun, man.
it's so easy though.
I
Like
mean, like, yes
the
and no,
power creep.
because we had like the same amount of people on each team, and like we all had like decent gear and stuff, right? So yes, the avatar is easier to kill, but it's still crazy because like you're just slapping each other up, and it's just so fun, man. It was such a good time. It really, really was. And we had I think it was like 15 versus 15 or something, and it was really,
Oh,
really fun. Because I do
okay.
masses every Sunday, and chat votes on like what we do, and they voted for mini games, and they voted for Soul Wars, and
Wait,
we've done like Castle Wars, we've done Soul Wars, we've done Pest Control. Soul Wars and Castle Wars are definitely some of the more enjoyable ones.
sorry. I was thinking pest control. I was saying it was easy. Pest control is super easy.
Oh yeah, Pest Control is like
Sorry, my bad.
boring at this point. Like we've done it, and it was just not fun. Like because it was just way too easy.
So, um, I got lost again, dude. Damn. I need more tea and coffee.
So is Void still useful anywhere? I
Not
It's good,
really.
but it's not. It's outperformed. It's not bad or anything. It's just
I
Yeah,
can't really
outperformed.
it's not good.
think of anyone using Void since the advent of like augmented armors.
Yeah, exactly. So Void used to be amazing to do next with, so people would use it. But now that you can augment armor and you get all of the perks, Void is just nowhere near as good. Like, there's no point in using Void when you can use Augmented Armadillo even. It's still
Yeah,
going to
but
be better.
if you don't have invention unlocked, that's why it's not like it's instantly bad. But if
Should
you're
you
like coming
really
back,
should you really be doing solo next without invention?
I mean, it's possible, right?
yeah, no, it's probably not better.
It's definitely possible, but what I'm saying is like,
Yeah,
if your
don't
goal
touch.
is to solo next, then I wouldn't really bother getting Void just because you can't be bothered to get invention.
Oh no,
You know
don't
what I
get it.
mean? Like,
Don't get it.
I mean, do you mean if you come back, you have it in your bank?
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, don't please. Anyone listening, don't get Void. Don't waste your time.
I mean,
Oh,
yeah, if
dude.
you have it in your bank, then sure. Like, if it's like a rebuild or something, because it doesn't cost you money, like that's okay.
But yeah, you definitely need like also overloads are like almost a must for solo next because of the stat drain, right? Kind of.
Yeah, you need them.
Oh,
Were you guys PvMing back in like 2013, like really recently after the Evolution of Combat came out?
no,
Yeah,
I was a noob.
Because I remember, so Dragros came out like right away
Mhm.
after the Evolution
Yep.
of Combat, and player run ports were either right before that or right after that. I don't remember. But I know that when people started getting Dragors and Tetsu, solo next became possible for like the first time, simply because I don't remember if it was because of the HP boost um or you just like had enough defense to kind of just tank her. But it became not only feasible but like really, really easy to do with that exact gear setup. And all kinds of people were just soloing Nex with Dragors and Tetsu, and that's kind of what made Nex like the boss that she is today, because they had to update her mechanics to make her able to like, pray against the styles that you were using, and they had to make her do more damage. And but I just remember like so many people taking advantage of that, and that being like the first kind of like advent of high level PvM. Because prior to that, like there was Calfight King and there was Nex, but most people did it in groups, and for the most part, it was easy to do. There weren't a whole lot of mechanics to worry about.
Yeah, and EOC definitely impacted that. And what I like about KK, which like no one really mentions nowadays because it's like been out for so long and it's like an easy boss now. KK was like the first boss with EOC, and it was made to showcase EOC abilities, and it's the only boss that uses a variety of EOC abilities back at you. And I think that's absolutely incredible.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it was funny because when KK first came out, I went to a few KK masses because a lot of people were doing KK
Yeah.
masses instead of actually learning the boss. But so many people at those masses were not even using abilities at all. They would just turn on momentum,
Yeah.
which was like the predecessor to Revolution and all that. And they would just like stand there and smack the boss and not even do anything. And it was essentially like they were just trying to play old RS, but on this new boss that had mechanics. And KK would just like wipe half the team out every single time he entered Magic Phase because no one knew what they were doing.
I kind of I wish I experienced that. I only experienced like trio or 4-man KK in like 2013 when I pretty much leeched of a friend who was like very good, geared out, and the other person was fairly good as well. And I was just there sitting there with magic and leeching. But that sounds like a lot of fun, just seeing people smack KK a little bit, magic phase, and then just die. It kind of reminds me of like Stream Masters, but people are probably like more clueless back then because now everyone knows how to do KK. If you see big blue balls, you're gonna run.
I did a few stream masses at KK, and you got people every single time you went to a Magic Phase because it just spawns so many. If you
Oh
have
yeah,
a room full of 20 people, like it's impossible to dodge everything.
it's.
Yeah.
I mean, you whip out the devotion for that, or your barricade, or you can res or deflect. I mean,
Res
this.
only works for one of them, yeah.
Yeah, true.
But the thing is, a lot of people don't know how KK's mechanics work, and if you do certain abilities, it triggers KK to do certain abilities. So you can literally force KK to barricade.
Or you can force him to stun again.
Yeah, like there's
Yeah,
so many cool things that you could do, and like that boss is such a good intricate boss in the way it actually works, and I think it really showcased EOC in such a good way, and I don't think EOC would have been as good as what it is now if KK wasn't the first boss that was released. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and just like the upgrade that Dragors were over every single other weapon that was in the game at the time was kind of
Ooh.
insane. And it may have been too much power creep, Maybe in hindsight they would have rather gone to like tier 85s instead of tier 90s right away.
Yeah.
But there was so much hype surrounding Drygores and the boss. I think it like brought a lot of excitement to a community that was pretty jaded about the
Mhm.
combat system changing for the most
Because of the
part. So
drop,
yeah,
right?
and I think it was a great update at the time.
Yeah,
How much were
and
they a pop? Like two
uh,
fifty,
now
300?
there were like 800 on release, and then they went down to about 300. Yeah, they
See,
they
Yeah,
they
for like
they
a set.
fluctuated to
imagine
like for
it,
200 to 300 for quite a while. Yeah.
imagine doing like your 4 or 5 man KK, right? Like the groups back then or whatever.
Hmm.
You're getting like a 300 mil drop in
Exactly.
2013,
Hmm.
dude. Paw, that's like the
Was insane.
equivalent of like Solak release or whatever getting the crossbow. It's
Yeah,
sad.
and I remember doing QBD with Drygores for the first time ever, and mate, it was so satisfying. Like just clobbering
Clapped.
QBD, it was so much fun, and like really testing out EOC abilities and stuff, and trying to do like damage and everything was so enjoyable. And then they released Farago, and like such an amazing boss again, and I just feel like some of that like amazing boss hype and stuff just really doesn't happen nowadays. It's a shame
No,
because we don't get
no.
enough. We
Uh, c-
when you
c-
look so you chat for a sec. I just want to look up one thing and I'll let you know.
yeah. I mean, speaking of like for example, I don't think the hype for Telos was that high because it was such a. I mean, I'm not saying it's low, but compared to probably like Virago or some KK, the amount of players because it's a solo boss, you can't really leech off a friend to teach you. So I think that's why there were like less people hopping in straight on release than those group bosses. Because
Yeah,
like I'd say AOD was probably more popular than Telos on release,
I think
especially after they found out the one drop. Sorry, Munkle.
yeah,
oh that's
probably.
okay. I think a big part of why Virago was so hyped is because it was like we had no knowledge of what the mechanics were when it first came out, right? And it
Mhm.
was a big team boss, and people were going in there with 6, 7, 8. I don't know how many people were in teams on release, but there were large teams. And it took so long to get the first kill. And it was just kind of like this event on Twitch where all these teams are trying to get the first Virago kill, and no one knew the mechanics, so every team was just wiping and just like incrementally learning more and more. And like the whole community kind of had to like share, like, oh, when you're on phase, you have to like clear your bleeds or whatever the case may be. Like it just felt like all the community was kind of working together to learn this boss for the first time and kind of help each other get the first kill. And I think that's part
Mhm.
of what like contributed to how good of a moment that was.
Definitely. I mean, the same applied with Solak. It's just we're not getting it very often. Like, I remember
Oh
so many
no.
people going for Solak on release, including myself, and getting that first kill felt so satisfying because it was such a difficult boss and the mechanics were so crazy to learn on the fly. It was really really cool. But what I looked up and what I wanted to find out is showcasing like I guess how little boss we've had recently. So in 2013, Calfight King came out in January with Exiled Calfight Queen with it. Then Virago came out in July. Then Rise of the Six came out in November. So in 2013, we had Calfight King, Virago, and Rise of the Six, which are huge bosses all in all. And like then we look at it now, we had
Mhm.
Solak in 2018, we had AOD in 2017, and we had Telos in 2016. And we
I mean,
haven't had anything since 2018 with Solak. I mean, we've had Elite Dungeons mixed in there, if you count those as bosses, but like the
they're
big
pretty
boss
big.
type, yeah, but like, the last Elite Dungeon was last year anyway, right? So
Yeah.
even then, we're still at least a year since we've had a boss, and then 2 years since we've had an actual like boss like Solak. And
Hmm.
then we could get 3 huge ones back then, but, like, nothing now, it's just a little bit of a shame.
I wonder how, because the team. I mean, the team was bigger, or maybe not. I'm
No,
not
I
sure.
don't think so. Jagex has nearly 400 employees.
Well, yeah, but how many of them are like from old school now?
Less than RS3 for sure.
Oh, okay. But like, okay, well, we have a boss coming this year, so there's unless
Yes,
they
I get
delay
that.
it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We got
December,
a boss
right?
coming this year,
We
yeah.
should. Although yeah, Mr. Dino Boy, Mr. Dino Boy.
It'd be cool, yeah. But, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I
I
know what you
just
mean. It's kind of sad because archaeology is cool and all, But yeah, like I would have preferred like a few big bosses.
Mm.
Even if I'm like not like a top PvM. Like if it's too hard for me, I probably won't do it very much. Like Telos. Like there's no reward in me like dying constantly
Mm.
trying to get up. Personally, I don't like it. But
I-
hmm? but like
no, yeah, carry on.
but
Sorry.
like Solak or raids or elite dungeons, you know, that's kind of like my level.
Yeah, and the new boss will be similar to that, right? Like 100% Telos, they said, or
Yeah, that's
whatever. But
fine.
like, it's just annoying because there was so much that they gave, and there were so many updates. Same with like quests, right? I
Promises.
just I just feel
Runefest.
like
Runefest.
we've gone from such awesome updates and we've been spoiled. So now that we're not being spoiled, it feels bad. And I feel like that's what a lot of the people that either have stopped playing or are getting bored are feeling, because the amount of quests by year was huge. We'd get so many quests, and now we get like a couple, like a handful. It's just
Yeah.
it's just one of those things
I mean,
where,
like one or
yeah.
two.
So
Like not even a handful.
and
One
then
or two.
we get one or two big
Locally,
quests and then a
the
couple of
slime
little
boy.
ones. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, don't you think that I think when EOC came out, like the RS team had a vision, like we want tier 90 weapons and armor in the game.
Hmm.
And they completed that vision, but and then they moved on to
Oh,
tier 92s eventually. But like what is the next vision? You know, because they need is it just going to be purely like spec weapons or
yes.
situational weapons from now
Situational.
on? Or
And abilities. Don't forget abilities.
Oh yeah, yeah. But the thing is, they've pretty much melee. I'm sure you've noticed, Muncle. That melee is actually no, maybe not. 2 weeks is too little for that. It's. I don't know if you can hear that background noise. By the way, can you hear that?
No.
Good. So it's basically melee escape now. I told you that in PM as well. Like if you're gonna get Drygores, like instead of that spear, you're better off getting Drygores and then later getting a scythe as well, and then after like getting abilities and all that stuff. But melee has like a terrorstrom mole. You have the spear of annihilation from Archaeology, the Masterwork spear. You have all those mutated abilities. You have a scythe at 290. You have a ZGS. You have Kopeshes. And basically, what they probably will do is add situational weapons like the Inquisitor staff or the Terrorstrom mole to the other skills, and like I don't know, tier 91, tier 90 or tier 92 weapons or whatever with extra accuracy at certain bosses. I think they'll keep doing that and add mutated abilities
Yeah.
to.
Mutated concentrated blast when, please.
Yes, dude, I said the same thing. Let me bleed my asphyxiate, please,
Uh,
please.
that's mutated barge.
Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
no, asphyxiate. I mean, like,
How would that? So mutated concentrated blast would just be like Fury, where it takes it from 3
yeah,
to
okay,
1. I
yeah,
don't know
sorry,
how they would do the bleed asphyxiate, but that would be Pog as well, right? But like,
mutated whack.
if I
I don't know.
told you that range out DPS is melee on a fair few bosses, would you believe
Sorry,
me?
say that again.
Range out DPS is melee on a fair few
On
bosses.
like probably like raids.
So
Mechs.
the way that melee works is its burst damage is the best in the game, and it's really really strong for like speed kills and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
range has the best DPM over a long period of time with optimal
BCB.
setup, right? So it's like if you're comparing optimal melee to optimal range, range means that you're gonna have all of it. You're gonna Eldritch crossbow spec. You're gonna then occasionally swap to your Blight Bounds to Needle Strike. You're gonna
The
use
SGB.
everything. Yeah, Serengobbo spec, you're going to utilize literally everything. With Hydrix back bolts, and whenever they proc, you swap to Ruby back bolts, etc. You know, you got all of the
Yep.
different stuff going on.
Big
And then
deeps.
melee would apply the same. You'd have your ZGS spec, you'd have your spear for bleed, you'd have your, Kopeshes to camp, and like all of that stuff. And you'd swap to cleave for 188% weapon damage alongside your decimates and
Yeah,
so
and you
like
have your
it's all the
lunging
sweaty
switch.
stuff, right?
Flank.
Yeah. So everything you would imagine for sweaty stuff. Range actually out DPS is melee, but the one that is the worst now is mage.
Rip,
Uh,
dude.
I mean, Inquisitor staff takes it decent in certain places, but it's still sometimes better to range or melee there. So
Kind of sad.
which
yeah,
is
I
weird
think
because we had Magescape for quite a while.
exactly.
Yes.
I think what they wanted to do is make it so mage wasn't the best style, so they buffed the other ones, but now mage is starting to lack a little bit. So I think if they could make something like concentrated blast in a mutated form or whatever would be amazing. And all in all, even though you called it Meleescape, and I agree, Melee is my favorite style, and I think Melee is the most versatile, especially when it comes to bossing and Slayer.
Easy. You can even use the SGB with Melee. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
ingenuity of humans, clap
and
that boy.
Bomb
Boom.
bombs made Mage even more redundant because now you can just
Yep.
bomb a thing and it vulns it. So all of that being said makes sense, but at the same time, I think this is the most balanced that the combat triangle has been in RuneScape.
Oh, okay.
Because it used to be Magescape, like Muncles said.
Yeah.
Mage was just king everywhere.
We had a period where like Virtus Wand and Book were better in some locations than Dragors, even despite being like 10 levels lower.
I mean, I don't know. I hate how Magic sucks now. It doesn't suck. if you want to compete, you have to Fortic. I don't like Fortic. I'm a lazy boy. I like to just, I don't know, be a mage and just vibe. That's a really bad argument, but that makes absolutely no sense. But I'm sure like the casual boys listening, casual players can agree. I don't know, Michael, you use a lunging switch and all that stuff for Melee, right?
Sometimes I don't do that much group bossing, but I have like flanking and all of that. Lunging I have on my Trim Masterwork Spear, so
of
obviously
course,
you use
lunging,
that in like solo bosses. But I do have flanking and stuff, but I don't use it that often because I don't really do group PvM. I know how to do it, but I just don't do it really. And I am kind of like a one-trick melee user, really. I don't really know how to optimally do range and magic. I don't Fortic and stuff like that. So
yeah, neither.
Melee I'm fine with, but the others I ain't gonna do very good with.
Melee makes it easy for you to be good. That's why I recommend it to Monk as well. As a mutated barge, you just bam, barge in, click assault, use assault keybind, boom.
Nice
Bigger
cup of tea on the
deeps.
table.
Yeah. Typical me, dude.
But yeah, I agree. Melee is lovely.
How do you both feel about bosses where like one combat style is just ineffective? Like a boss where melee does next to no damage or just has super high defense against melee, but not the other two styles or something.
So
I think it'd be fine if there's like one for each style or whatever.
yes.
Like, so if one boss is released and you have to mage it, then one boss is released and you have to range it. Like if you have it in that regards, I think it's fine.
Gold Rush Dungeon 1? Maybe? Like you can't
yeah.
what is it? You can't melee Armadillo, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even
For
with a scythe,
example.
you can't
If you
reach
could
it.
though, oh dude. Rip
Yeah.
little bird boy.
So yeah, I agree. I think that'd be really, really cool, honestly, Munkle.
I'm just wondering if like is that like a band-aid solution to an unbalanced combat triangle, and it's not really necessary in the long run. Because I don't know, like we've had lots of bosses in the past. Like I think isn't General Gardor like really strong against magic or range or something, or at least he was at one point. Like you just can't use one combat style against.
Yeah, he rakes you as range because his melee hits just destroy you.
And I don't know, does that add anything to the game, or is that just kind of like a band-aid solution?
Actually, I don't think it really adds much. Like you're just you're kind of forcing players to use a certain style. I don't know if it's like bad or good. It's just it is what it is. I don't think it like makes something better or last longer or make I don't know drops more profitable because less people have X combat style blah blah blah. Like if you were to release a boss now that can only be killed with magic or something, I don't know if that would really add anything apart from making people angry.
Or maybe the better solution is like Araxor, because like you can mage Araxor, right? And it's
yeah,
but it's just annoying because she constantly melee distances you and uses bleeds on you and stuff. So it's just more irritating to deal with than the other combat styles. But like it's still totally doable if you want to.
And it's also more rewarding, right? Because the Fang it has a 50% chance when you mage instead of 25. So
actually,
it gives you an incentive to actually mage, even though it might be a little bit more difficult or more.
Rax is such a good example. Yeah, good point, Maikeru. Yeah, and Muncles. Yeah, to be honest, if they do like Rax, Rax is a perfect boss.
Almost. Oh, yeah, I agree. The mechanics to Raxes are insane, and that'd be cool. Another Rax where it changes its combat style depending on what your combat style is. Completely fine with that. Yeah, for sure.
I would prefer that to Telos, because dude, I can hear like people who like PvM screeching, dude, it's too easy. I don't want no piss easy Rax kind of thing.
You can make a easier version of like a harder version of Rax, right? But like the fundamentals can still be the same. The fact that different paths have different things whenever they're open, like Rago as well and stuff. And then
Oh, actually,
those type of things are really, really cool as well, in my opinion, where it constantly changes, because then it means different weeks going to be different things. I think Solak and Telos and stuff do get a bit stagnant because they're always the same. So having
yeah.
something to mix them up a little bit just gives people another thing to learn or another bit of fun to have.
I like that system, but I'm not sure if Michael would say that. I don't like that. At the same time, it's good, but I don't like that you have to make a weapon with different parts. Because it's like if you do a boss a lot and you get like really dry in one bit. For example, the signets at Ascensions, right? It really annoys me that I just can't finish an Ox weapon.
I
Like,
completely understand that. I think they kind of countered it with Elite Dungeon 3 because you can sell the parts.
yes, exactly. So if they would do it like that with paths of racks,
Mhm.
like different mechanics, if you choose a different path, that's perfect.
And then that also leads into like if you were going to do racks, like a certain path would be worth more than another one, and it
Mhm.
might be more annoying to do. So the one that people like the least would also be the most rewarding. And I think stuff like that is really, really
Yes,
beneficial to
exactly.
bosses.
Exactly. Like, make people struggle a little more for more reward. Uh,
Definitely.
I'm not sure how Munkle feels about like split drops, or maybe in Rage actually. But you haven't done Telos, so that's going to be like a hard question.
Well, I kind of wanted to ask you guys what you felt was the best designed boss slash drop system. It doesn't have to be the same answer. Um, but like what you think in terms of mechanics is your favorite versus what you think in terms of like the rewards is your favorite.
Racks is mine personally.
If we're talking like overall boss experience, I'd say Elite Dungeons, specifically Elite Dungeon 2 is best. Because you have 3 bosses, they have different mechanics. The only reason I don't like ED3 more because Ambassador is such a good boss. It really is. It's challenging alone. It's not as hard in a group. The rewards can be very good if you get lucky, but the only problem with Elite Dungeon 3 is the first 2 bosses don't have a drop that's worth anything. Well, in Elite Dungeon 2, every boss drops a codex. The overpowered melee codexes, so Mutated Barge, or Greater Barge, Fury, and Flurry. That's perfect.
What about you,
Yeah.
Munkle?
Well, I haven't tried Elite Dungeons, and with the amount that you guys have hyped them up, I'm sure I'm going to really love them.
You will.
But my favorite boss in terms of mechanics has been Virago.
Oh,
And I also really like the drop system because I like that you get drops for doing different things. Like I have never really DPS'd much at Virago. I've almost entirely just done bomb tank. Partly because I liked you don't have to compete with other people for the drops. And I generally didn't have the best gear or the best rotations. So when I did when
I
I
see
did
where you're going.
DPS, it was difficult to get drops unless you went with people who are more inexperienced. Um, but I also just really love the fact that there's a role that's so different, and your goal isn't to do damage, right? Your role is something completely different, but you still have a chance of getting rewards.
So when it comes to like rewards system, I think Rax is the best. But when it comes to like in terms of like roles and stuff, I think Virago and Yaka do that best. Yaka doesn't give you like better rewards for doing a certain role like Virago does. But the fact that there's like 7, 8 roles at Yaka is amazing to me. So like your 10-man team, most of the people are going to be doing something, which is really, really cool. Same as Virago, right? You're all doing specific stuff, which doesn't always necessarily mean that you're going to be DPSing, but you are still going to be a benefit to the team with whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of like different roles at bosses. And I haven't done a whole lot of Yaka, but the little bit I did do, I tried. I like that there's these little minor roles. Like your role can be like to go revive the base tank, or to like go pick up planks or whatever. And I just like these little interruptions beyond just run to the pool and mindlessly use your same rotation on the guy when he pops up.
Yeah.
I love that there's more than that.
I think Rago's even better than Yaka sometimes because of the weekly rotations as well, right? So like those type of things add even more to the boss, because you don't just have to learn the boss, you have to learn the boss like 5 times in different scenarios, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and I love how there's kind of like you get these Rago weeks, like whatever your favorite rotation is. Like I don't know what the fastest is now, but I just remember like getting really excited for like team split week or something because it's
Hmm.
easy,
Yeah.
and it's not that like your whole team is like, oh yeah, I'll Rago during this week, because we're not going to get a chance to do our favorite rotation again for a month.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced enough Rago to really have a good opinion about Rago, so
I'm not the biggest fan of Virago
as
because
in
it's
like
very time
actually doing
gated.
it.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I
like
like
'cause
the boss and the mechanics, but nowadays it's very, very time gated, so it doesn't matter how good you are. It's like you're always gonna be time gated. But at
yes,
the same time, that's a good thing because it keeps energies at a good price because you can't just kill like 100 per hour, you know?
I noticed that especially with Trio Virago. Even then, you can like out DPS the phase and still have to wait.
People out DPS the faces in duo nowadays. It's insane. But in general, is there anything else you want to say, Mr. Munkle? Like anything else you want to like address or talk about in terms of you or your channel, RuneScape, etc.?
I think mostly just I think you guys have had some good ideas in terms of like checking out content that's came the past few years, um, as kind of like some sort of YouTube goal.
Hmm.
But one thing I did want to ask about a little bit, because this is a comment I've seen a couple times. Um, I can't remember if it was in the friends chat or on a video I uploaded. But people have kind of been saying like they don't see much of a space for kind of like mid-level, whether it's like PVM or just content in general, for like kind of a mid-level, more casual player on YouTube. And there's a lot of like high-level PVM, and that's not like a bad thing or anything, but just that there's not much of a space for um, like kind of the everyman who's maybe not an elite player, not like a nearing comp cape player, whose goal is kind of the end game stuff.
Uh, I I would argue that you're gonna be more popular on YouTube if you focus on mid-level content. Maybe not everyone, right? Like if you're trying to get into the scene, no. But if you're talking like about yourself, if you want to like upload a God Rush Dungeon 1 series, I'm sure not everyone will enjoy it or God Rush Dungeon 2. But because you just came back and because you have been a part of the community, that would work.
So, were you thinking about doing mid-game content? Is that what you mean?
Well, I guess I'm mostly just like wondering, is there a space for mid game
Yeah,
content? Do you think like late game, whether it's PVM or I don't know, working on comp cape requirements, like do you think that kind of stuff is a little bit overrepresented on YouTube, or do you think it's like pretty indicative of what people are interested in?
I think it's a bit of both. People will typically watch stuff that they're trying to do as well. So if they're working on comp, they'll watch comp related stuff, etc. Um, but I think for you, you're in a very, very good position where you could easily make content on learning as well. It doesn't just have to be, hey, look, this is like mid tier boss, or hey, look, this is a high tier boss. It's like your pathway. So there's a lot of people in game that are scared to start higher tier PVM or go past racks or nex and go experience like AOD or Solak or Telos, etc. So I think
Oh,
there's a
I
big
agree that.
space on like the progression side as well. So if you uploaded like mid tier content, getting back into the game, then once you're kind of like in the game and in that swing of things, then going on to like showcasing learning stuff, I think that'd help just as many people as showcasing the high level stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah, that jump from solo PVM to like doing group bossing is definitely a huge one.
Because you were asking about like space on YouTube, right? For like mid-level content, but I heard Mike was saying like as soon as you've done like gotten back into the game, you'll probably find yourself getting into the high level stuff fairly easily.
Yeah, I guess that's the benefit of RS3 being it's really easy to make money and it's really easy to level. So that mid-level space doesn't necessarily last for a whole long time. I mean, I guess depending on what your goals are, but it doesn't take that long to get to the point where you're killing Telos, or I don't know if Araxor is considered high level content anymore, but doing stuff like that.
Yeah, it's still fairly high level.
Yeah, it's not like it might be a little easier due to power creep, but people that are trying to get into the boss don't have access to that anyway, so it's probably just as hard, almost as hard as it was back then. It's just that the guides are like more in depth nowadays.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I found Araxor to be pretty hard when you're not used to prayer switching, and you're not used to I mean, phase 4 is just hard because you
yes,
have to prayer switch, and you have to, use your rotation to be somewhat effective, and you have to worry about dodging the core. And if you haven't been doing like any sort of RS3 related PvM at all in years, I mean, that's kind of a big step to get back into.
oh
Yeah.
for sure. That's what I'd like to see. Like I would generally enjoy seeing you die at a bunch of bosses. Not gonna lie, it sounds
I'll
savage, but
try to record my death the next time.
please do. I guarantee you, your viewers will like it because I was never good at PVM.
It's relatable.
It I did a video trying like Nex and I think Elite Dungeon 3 and some other stuff for the first time, and people loved seeing me suck at the game because it was relatable. There's a bunch of players out there that might not be vocal, but they are really bad at PVM, and they can appreciate relating to someone just as bad or good as them. I think there's the majority of players are actually not good at PVM. Um, Also partly because some are just not interested or not like leveled enough. If you look at like the average player count, that's like it has 199, I believe. It's not that high.
Well, it's hard because it takes a lot of practice to be good at PVM, and it's a
Yes.
grind. Like, it takes a long time to get there to that point. And then you have to consider, like, you have to get past the barrier of being willing to try higher level PVM in the first place. And then you have to get past the barrier of having good enough gear to get like
Mhm.
speed kills or whatever. And then on top of that, you have to spend, I don't know how many hours, 20, 30 hours mastering a boss to the point where you're actually decent at it. Um, and like I agree. It's probably like the minority of the player base that's in that situation.
Yeah. And once you do get up to doing a boss decently, I would argue it can be faster if you have someone telling you what to do in voice chat. That worked out very, very well for me personally. If you're
Oh
doing a
yeah,
boss, trust me,
that's
it's
how I learned Rise of the Six in one night. I
there we
I went
go.
with someone who was very very good at it and helps me out a lot.
Mhm.
That's honestly the best way to learn. It's even better than YouTube guides or I would argue that written guides for bosses are not that useful. I'm not saying that to have people click on boss guides. I'm just saying you need to see what's going on. Um, yeah, and once what I was gonna say is once you're at that level, like doing a certain boss decently, there's a bunch more levels you need to like get up to get to like certain bosses or be allowed in certain groups. For example, 750k damage AOD gem, whatever it is, without poison and auras and all that stuff. It's not that hard if you have like a decent rotation and you use a planted feed switch, but many players don't have that yet. So
It depends on like what type of your like PVM you're getting into though.
yeah,
You're not gonna try and get into an AD team that requires you to do X amount in a gem if you're just starting. You're just looking for like a FC or a fan chat or whatever that will help teach you the basics.
but that's if you have a clan. I don't know why. Lots of people say they don't have a clan or something. I don't think it's that hard to join one, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it isn't, but at the same time, it's like
You need a good one.
yeah, and it's sometimes hard to find people that are willing to teach,
Oh
right?
yeah, that's
So,
the problem, right? Yeah, no, that's 100% true. Because no one, many people, I should say, don't want to take I hate saying someone who slacks, right? Because they like doing it their way. Like, oh, this goes right. This guy knows what he's doing. We can just do this.
mhm.
That doing it for an hour, especially at rots. By the way, I'm not sure if Manko experienced that, but people can get pretty nasty at rots if you're slow and getting out and stuff, or like
Yeah, I've
Rots is the
flanking.
found.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ruts is the one boss that I have experience with teaching. Like, I wasn't the one doing the teaching, but like I
mhm.
was in the team where like our fourth was being taught and had never done Ruts before. It was very inexperienced. And I it is frustrating. I would say it's more frustrating at bosses like Yakamaru or Virago, because
Where
if
you
you wipe,
fail.
it's such a time loss. Whereas with rots, like you wipe, you teleport back and grab your stuff, and you're back in another kill in 60 seconds. Like it's not really that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very well made argument. Raids is bad. Don't use no, actually I'm not going to say that, but there's certain friend chats that if you mess up one thing, you're out, dude.
I did 1,000 Yaka Casey with Raid FC. You just need to find the okay groups and the okay people. There's obviously going to be toxic people everywhere, but I don't think the FC's bad.
I think anything group based has certain
Yeah,
individuals.
yeah, exactly. It's the
Dungeoneering as
people,
well,
not
dude.
necessarily. Oh, Dungeoneering, yeah.
Free
And the
Leech
same
FC.
as Barbarian Assault is what I'm telling you, dude.
So basically, any group content with more than 3 people is like
Ugh.
nasty. Or can be nasty.
Can be, yeah. But then that
What do you
gives it a
guys
bad
think?
name and stuff, right?
What do you guys think? Like brings that out of people? Is it like the competitiveness, or is it the fact that you're working on, you want to hit your whatever your kills per hour is because you're working on the pet grind, or you're working on making money, and you see other people as kind of like an obstacle in the way of
Yeah.
that if they're dying and wiping you?
Yes. I
Yeah,
actually made a
you
video
what?
about that.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. About elitism and like
Yeah.
most of the time it's people because they are used to doing something in a certain period of time, making a certain amount of money, or doing it with a certain a certain amount of people, and if that goes differently, they don't like change. They just don't, and that's why they get pissed off.
It's also depending on the people as well, right? Because if you say that you can do all of these things, they expect it of you. But if you're like saying you're a learner, they don't expect it as much. So, like, if you have all of these requirements and you join this really fancy team, the expectations are super high. So, if you foul those expectations, you're letting the group down, not just like one person. So
Yeah,
then they get angry with you because you're wasting like 6 people's time instead of one person's time or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Okay, like if you lie about, then it makes sense. But if you like say, hey, I'm bad at this or like that, they
Yeah,
can
then
like
they
expect
shouldn't
it.
be like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's bad.
sometimes they still are, right? Yeah.
I mean, I've had my fair share of really, really annoying players. Even like people within what I would consider friends can be very, especially the ones that like very good at PvM can be very toxic.
Mm.
Even if you met, I don't know, maybe it's the people I talk to.
That's why I love Evil Lucario. Man's like a god at PvM, but still the nicest guy you're ever gonna meet.
Yeah, he's the only humble. Okay, I'm not gonna say only. I just don't talk to the other ones. He seems very humble for his skill level.
Yeah, very, very, very.
So, I'm not sure like, how long we've been going. I do have one
Like
more
2 hours, I think.
Wow. I was gonna ask about RuneScape Mobile. What you think about that, Muncle?
So I don't have a whole lot of experience on RS3 mobile. I've done a decent amount on old school RS. I found it to be limiting in what you can do. I mean, but it's nice. Like I used to fish because I found that being like that was one of the easier things you can do. Is like you just click to drop, or I guess tap to drop if you're on mobile.
Mhm.
And you can just I walk to work, so that's something that's like really easy to do on the commute, right? But RS3 mobile, it's hard. It drains your battery really fast.
Oh,
It
yeah?
doesn't run very well if you don't have a kind of higher end phone, which I don't. Um, I mean, it's nice. I've used it a little bit just like while watching TV, and I'll do archaeology on it, but it does feel like pretty limited in what you can actually do beyond just AFK skilling.
Yeah, that's exactly what I expected you to say, actually. Didn't know you used it for, old school, though. Huh. So you've actually experienced the other side, like the more simple game that's more suited for mobile, basically.
I think it works better on old school. I mean,
Yeah.
it still is mostly just AFK skilling on old school, and it's hard to do much else. But like with a combat system where it's click and wait, for the most part, like you can do a Slayer task on mobile, and I mean, you don't have all your plugins and stuff, so it's not as great as doing it on your desktop. But I mean, it works just fine, and I imagine it would probably work okay with Legacy. Like if you're AFKing something and you're player on the Slayer dungeon.
It works fine with Revo Plus Plus in Slayer Dungeon and stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah. True. That's the I would only use it for AFK, and even then, like,
Mm.
because it drains your battery if you're like not at home. You don't have a power bank. It's not really that good an idea. I'd like to do unless you're like desperate for those gains.
Yeah, my phone overheats really easily if I have it plugged in. So it's not really that fun to do anything if it's plugged in. So I end up kind of avoiding mobile because it's like an annoyance. I
Oh
mean, I'll
yeah.
use it like during my walk, or for a short time while I'm like watching a show, like upstairs on the TV or something. But like I very, very rarely will use it to like actually play the game in any sort of capacity, just because it feels almost more annoying to use.
Would you believe there's actual players that use RuneScape 3 mobile completely? Because I've had a few of my comments
Oh
and
yeah,
I can't believe it, dude. I was very surprised.
It's pretty
'Cause
insane, isn't it?
I
That's
can't imagine what like questing is like on mobile
it's
only.
bad. It's
Yeah.
buggy. It's
Are you
buggy.
like tabbing back and forth between like a quest guide or?
I mean, if you don't use a guide, but yeah, good luck for some of the quests.
Yeah, it'd be very, very difficult to do quests and stuff on mobile for sure.
Taki Maki did it, and apparently the majority of the quests were bugged. Like lots have little issues with them.
Hmm.
He said that in his mobile review.
Like you just can't complete them.
Yeah, he's like one of the YouTubers that pretty much did like a full series on mobile and like basically tried it out in depth so that everyone knows what it's like. Yeah, and he said that questing was probably the worst part. I mean, to be expected.
Yeah, it's like a nice supplement, but it's
Not a
it's not.
replacement.
I don't
Yeah.
think it's really supposed to be your main course meal. It's supposed to be like your fries on the side or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
That's a good comparison because I don't know about you guys, but you eat fries with your fingers. You do stuff on your phone with your fingers. I don't know. So
Please
Maybe
don't
that's
do
kind of where
both
it's
at the
from.
same time. Thanks.
oh yeah, don't. That's kind of dude. Oh,
Just get a salty phone.
salty. You say? I mean, if you're doing
Well, yeah,
quests on
fries
mobile,
have salt on
yeah.
them.
I mean, you can eat them bland if you like, but
Bit boring.
Gordon Ramsay
So
would not approve.
Tastes like
so
cardboard.
so Protoxx, I'm guessing by your accent you're from the Netherlands.
Huh? You're the first person that realized straight away. It's probably because certain words, or you've talked to Dutch people before.
So I lived in
Oh
that
no!
area of the world
What?
for
What?
about 5 years when I was growing up.
You you live in the Netherlands?
Hmm. Well, more so in Belgium, but I did very briefly live in the Netherlands. Yeah.
What? Dude, that's sick. Wait, so
Yeah,
can you speak Dutch though?
Klein beetje.
Oh, dude, that could be in the title.
I will
Michael's
say
on Dutch.
I
That's
haven't lived over there for.
Ooh.
I was a kid. I was a very young kid, and I did not go to public school, so I did not learn a whole lot of Dutch when I was there. Retained very little bit, like a very small amount of it. But
Cool.
when we were talking about fries, like I just remember like growing up and eating frites all the time, and I still eat.
Friets.
I still I still eat frites
Dude,
with mayonnaise
patat.
sometimes, and everyone in the U.S. thinks I'm super weird.
Wait, wait, hold up. So people in the US don't eat fries with mayonnaise? Or
No, usually ketchup or fry sauce, which is
what?
ketchup and mayonnaise mixed.
What?
What
Man,
the?
America's weird, dude.
Dude, America. Damn, man. I know, like the majority of my viewer base is American,
Yeah,
but damn, you
same.
guys are weird, dude. Imagine not eating fries with mayonnaise, dude. What the hell? Do you know what? I'm sorry, this is like kind of like a weird top, but do you know what a frikandel is then?
What is? Sorry.
Frikandel. I'm trying saying it in like an English way, but
I don't think so. No.
like the sausage kind of thing, but then it's not like a sausage.
It's a
I
sausage
mean,
roll.
No. It's like
Wow.
it's like a meat. Like, just think of a sausage, but then it's fried,
All right, weird.
and it's like not that good quality meat, but it's like everyone eats it.
Yeah, I've had them.
Okay,
I did not remember what they're called, but yeah, I've had them.
this is really this. You've never said this in your videos, right? That you lived in the Netherlands when you were younger.
I think I've mentioned it to a few people, but I don't think I've ever said it in a video before. No.
Exclusive content.
Dude, it's all at the end though.
Munclesonkey Dutch. If anyone's listening at this point, please comment Munclesonkey Dutch. Thank you.
Yeah, I really wish I remembered more because like when I moved back to the States, my parents never really learned any Dutch. I learned a little bit just because I mean, that's like older people all speak English, right? But at least kids, when I lived there, 15 plus years ago, um, kids my age for the most part didn't speak in English, so to
Oh
talk
yeah.
to anyone, you had to pick up Dutch. And when you're a kid, you learn languages so quickly. So I learned a little bit. I just really wish I retained more of it. But like when you move back to the States and you don't know anyone that's Dutch and you never have any reason to practice, it's really hard to retain
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
language skills you pick up.
It just gets out like your long-term memory. It just disappears. Mostly, at least. Oh, that's really cool to know. Honestly, I was very surprised to hear you guess because the majority of people that find out I'm Dutch are surprised because I have this weird mix of accents. I uh, depending on even some Dutch people hear it, including you. Well, you're not Dutch, but you've lived there, and some people never know until I mention it. So it's kind of cool.
Maybe it's just like the people I knew, but it sounds very similar to most of what I can remember of like Dutch people speaking English.
They usually speak like this. They have a very different pronunciation of things. Okay, that
Is
was
it just
bad.
because you're like used to speaking English, so you've lost a bit more of your accent than normal?
I've lived in London, so
Oh, okay, yeah, that
as
that
also as a kid, so that maybe that's the difference.
Hmm. Today I
Michael,
learned.
have you lived in Germany or the Netherlands when you were younger by any chance?
Nah.
I kind of want to know now, dude.
Nah, I've always lived in England.
we
Oh,
can't bring it full circle.
Always the free head, feels bad, man.
oof, dude. So, is there anything you guys would like to add? Otherwise, it might be a good idea to wrap it up because it's 2 hours and like that's a
2 hours
long.
went so quick, man. What the
Dude, I
hell?
I feel like we started 10 minutes ago.
Hopefully the viewers are listening still and
Yeah.
also felt like it was 10 minutes ago. Normally people watch a podcast that's like 1 hour, 20 minutes, and then they're like, oh, I wish this was longer. So now they're actually gonna get a longer one. Hopefully it's not too long.
Yeah. Oh boy, dude.
I feel like 1.5 hours is kind of the sweet spot for podcasts because that's like how long most podcasts are.
Mhm.
Um, but that's that's okay. Also, I feel like we were super rambly for a lot of this podcast.
That's a podcast though, in my opinion. Like it's not like I don't know any podcast that are like really well I mean maybe like Joe Rogan or H3H3, they're fairly good.
I mean, at the start it was pretty structured. We were asking lots of questions to Munkle and that, and then we just got onto like RuneScape topics.
Yeah. That's the good thing about podcasts though. It just flows into all kinds of stuff. It's like I thought we were going to run out of topics this time. I've never had that in a podcast before. Like there's a couple of things we might not have covered, but it just doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Great podcast.
So do you want to say anything in particular, Mr. Munkle?
It's good to be back to RS3. I feel like almost everyone I talk to has hyped up Elite Dungeons, so I probably should get on that and try them. And yeah, this is fun. And if we have more topics, maybe we could do this again.
That'd be perfect.
Sounds
And
like a good idea.
I look forward to more content, and I'm sure everyone else does as well. It's so nice to just see people coming back. I mean, a friend made a video on RS3 recently as well, which was really, really cool to see. Like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the older YouTubers and stuff would still enjoy RS3 if they
Mhm.
gave it a go again, kind of thing.
There's one more guy I really want to mention real quick. What's the name again? Nightmare RH has also kind of returned, and
Yeah, I remember him.
yeah, I could impersonate him, but I'm not going to because it's not family friendly.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Munkle and Mr. Protoxx. I appreciated talking to you both, and hopefully it wasn't too long, but it was amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Thanks for coming on, dude.